Fantasy Family's Major League Baseball Division Series. Brought to you by Rolaids. Rolaids spells relief with a taste that can't be beat.
It is a fabulous day to be out of doors here in the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area, as today the Minnesota Twins meet the Athletics in Game 2 of the American League Division Series. Minnesota leading 1-0 with their come-from-behind victory here yesterday. So, the Twins getting ready to go up against Mark Mulder, the 19-game winner. And let's take a look at the Minnesota batting order now. Almost the same order as hit yesterday. It'll be Jacques Jones in left field, Cristian Guzman at shortstop. Corey Koski, one of the heroes yesterday, a homer, 3 batted in. He's at third base. Matthew LeCroy is the designated hitter. That's the one change from yesterday. Torrey Hunter in center field. Doug Minkiewicz, who homered yesterday at first base. Michael Kadire, the young right fielder, back in there hitting seventh. A.J. Pierzynski and then Luis Rivas. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan, and welcome to Game 2 of this division series. And the Athletics, the team that was a heavy favorite, suddenly behind in the series, and they are on the eve of having to head out to Minnesota and the horrors of the Metrodome, where only one team has ever won a postseason game, just one time. And the Athletics need a win here today. A very, very big ball game for this Athletics team, Joe, with Mark Mulder, a 19-game winner, a very, very good pitcher on the mound.
Well, I think it's up to Mulder how this series is determined. If he pitches a great ball game today, it's going to be okay because Zito can beat anyone in any setting. So I think that's going to be fine. But I've been really impressed with Gardenhire, the manager of the Twins. He kept them calm yesterday in the face of all the adversity. And what he's done today with this lineup is just great. He's left the same lineup out there with the exception of Matthew LeCroy. And I think that's going to make a difference in this ball game. All of them are settled down now. I think they're going to play Twins baseball.
The Oakland A's hunt for Green October. And there is Mulder. The A's have just taken the field, so we're just moments away from getting started here. And Mulder has shown himself to already be a big game pitcher, a 20-game winner last year, 19 this year, even though he spent almost a month on the disabled list. He's got a wide variety of pitches, so he sat down and gave us some of his time to explain what he throws.
This might take a while. This is just my two-seam fastball. Hold it. Every now and then, if I want to get a little more sink, I hook this seam right here, and so therefore that ball spins with these seams right here. So if you're playing catch with somebody, all you see is one continuous seam going down the ball. My four-seam fastball is right there. That's how I hold that. My curveball, I hold it right there on that seam with most of the pressure on this finger right here. I hold my slider. My cutter, however you want to classify it. I hold it right there, so it comes off the end of this finger here. My changeup is more of just a circle change. I hold it right there on the seam so that it comes off this way, and then I throw my split, which I hold right like that.
So there's the abridged version of the pitches that he throws. But one thing is for sure, he throws strikes and is usually ahead of hitters, and he is very adept at making hitters go out of the strike zone when he's ahead of them.
Well, John, I think the key today will be how his adrenaline is, how he contains himself today. I thought that's what happened to Hudson yesterday. He had a lot of pitches up. I think he was overthrowing maybe sometimes, but the balls were up. Now, Mulder's going to have to get the ball down. Again, his sinker is going to be the most important part of the game today. If he can get his sinker working early in this ball game, then I think he'll be fine.
So here we go. Jacques Jones ready to stand in for the Minnesota Twins. Then Cristian Guzman and Corey Koski to follow. Jones had just the one hit yesterday, but it was a big one. And a fastball in there for a called strike. He doubled in the 6th inning, and that knocked in the tying run of the game. Jacques Jones, who hit 300 in the regular season with 27 home runs. Big curveball. Strike 2.
I think that is the reason right there that he can be very effective against left-handed hitters. A lot of pitchers now, left-handers, do not throw the big breaking curveball, but both of the Oakland left-handed starters do.
Chavez can't get it. And I think that surprised him.
Well, the ball looked like it jumped at him or skidded. It didn't take the bounce that he thought it was going to take. Well, you see, he'll get there. Now watch, he gets over there. And watch, he's there, but then the ball just kind of stays down. I think he thought it was going to hop up and he was going to catch it about the knee, but it bounced and skidded on through. Let's take a look at the defense behind Mulder today. I think Hernandez is the key. His pitch calling and his pitch selection will be very important. because I had some question marks about what happened yesterday and some of the pitch calling in that inning where the Twins bounced back.
And Jacques Jones back to the bag at first. Jones has excellent speed but stole only 6 bases this year. And remember, he had a bad ankle sprain the day after they clinched the title about 2.5 weeks ago now, and is still not at 100% in terms of being able to run. That fastball is a strike call to Christian Guzman. But now this pitch calling thing, Joe, I mean, the pitcher ultimately has to decide what to throw, right?
Well, that's true to a certain extent, but I think the catcher follows the game plan. But if the pitcher can't pitch to that game plan, then I think you have to go someplace else.
It's a bunt. Now Chavez is going to have to hurry. He got him. What a play. Barehanded pickup and just in time. Now here's an update from Atlanta. Let's go to Carl Ravitch.
Hi, John. Thank you. Some strange stuff. The Giants had an 8-2 lead. Sheffield hit a home run to make it 8-3, but with 2 outs, Santiago's got a chance to end the inning, and he drops it. And Jeff Brantley?
Ball just moved away from him right there. He could usually get behind that ball, but he stayed on the other side and just faded away from him.
That made it 8-5. Santiago then made a great play to end the inning. So Gil would go to the 9th, down 3, John.
All right, so we continue to see some strange things happening in this postseason.
Well, the home field advantage is not that important unless you're in New York, the Yankees.
Here's Corey Koski, a big curveball for a called strike from Mulder. Koski talking to Ron Gardenhire before the game today. He thought that Koski's home run in the 3rd inning, when the Twins were down 5-1, was what really lifted everybody's spirits in the dugout and said, all right, despite it all, despite the horrors of the first 2 innings, we're right in this game. Now they curveball in the dirt outside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Corey Koski. There's Ron Gardenhire. First season as Twins manager, led the ball club to 94 wins, and now trying to lead them past this first round of the playoffs. And a win today won't determine that one way or the other, but heading home, the Twins would like their chances if they were ahead 2 games to none. A huge game for the Athletics today. That curveball, and the count now. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And that, again, is the pitch that's going to hurt some of these left-handed hitters in this Twins lineup. As I said before, a lot of left-handed pitchers now do not throw the big overhand curveball. They throw a slider or a cutter. He throws a big curveball, as you can see there, and so does Zito. So they will get a dose of Mulder today and Zito in the next game, and they're going to have to face the same kind of a big curveball. And how they handle this will obviously go a long way towards where they're going to have a chance of winning this ball game.
1-2 to Koski. But he's too low with a fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's one of the second pitch that he's thrown so far out of the strike zone. Matthew LeCroy is on deck. Mark Mulder, a first-round draft choice out of Michigan State, drafted in 1998. He's got a runner to contend with at second. That's Jacques Jones. Fastball, strike 3 call.
And that big breaking curveball is the reason that he can get this pitch. I mean, the hitter, left-handed hitter, knows he's missed a big curveball, so he's looking for a curveball. So what does Mulder do? He fires a fastball and over the outside corner, and that's it. The A's have a tendency to pitch soft away and hard in. That's kind of their philosophy. So they'll throw a lot of curveballs away and then try to bust the fastball in. The target actually was in there, but he got the call on the outside corner.
And according to K-Zone, it was virtually the perfect strike. Knee high, right on the corner. Here's Matthew LeCroy. And that's inside for ball 1. Now LeCroy is in the game today along with his longtime buddy, Michael Kadire. They were both drafted in 1997. Came up in the minor leagues together. And LeCroy in there today as a right-handed bat against Mulder. He hit a home run against Mulder this year. And that's about the only thing to recommend him as being in the game today. The Twins themselves, when left-handers started against them, did very poorly. 23 wins, 29 losses. And LeCroy against Mulder, only 2 hits in 18 lifetime at-bats, but one of those a home run this year. Base hit can mean a run. Jones at second. Fastball is a high fly ball to left. In on it. Justice shading the eyes from the harsh glare of the sun. A leadoff single and nothing more for the Twins. Now the Athletics are coming up against Joe Mays when we return. Twins nothing. Athletics coming up now. Art Howe in the Oakland dugout in this big ball game for the Athletics, who won 103 games in the regular season. Ray Durham, the DH, leading it off. Scott Hatteberg at first. Miguel Tejada at shortstop. And he did not have the best of days yesterday with the bat. Eric Chavez at third. Jermaine Dyan right hitting fifth. David Justice in left field. Mark Ellis, the second baseman. Terrence Long in center. Ramon Hernandez, the catcher. It's the same lineup that played in yesterday's game. And on the mound for the Twins, Joe Mays, a very poor one-loss record. He had some elbow problems, missed about half the season. But he was a 17-game winner last year. And Ron Gardenhire is a big believer in his great sinker, and he's got a wide variety of pitches. Gardenhire says he wants primarily to see him throw that great sinker.
Well, he's very similar to Radke. I mean, they have the same repertoire of pitches, and they use them the same way. But he will throw the fastball by you every once in a while if you're looking for something else.
Ray Durham had 2 doubles yesterday. And that sinker cuts across the plate for a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hatteberg on deck, then Tejada. Here's a big curveball low and inside. 2 balls and a strike. I asked Jacques Jones about the field here with the sunshine, whether he prefers being outdoors here on a clear sunshiny day or indoors at the Metrodome. And that sinker is low, 3-1, because people are always complaining about the Metrodome being so hard to see a ball in the air. Jacques Jones just smiled. He said, I like any ballpark in October.
That's a very good answer.
And ball 4.
And let's take a look at the defense behind Mays, because it becomes important. And this is a good Twins defense, although if you watched yesterday's ball game, you would have to question that statement. But they are a good defensive ball club. They had some hiccups yesterday, but you expect them to play better today. They're over that first game jitters, and I expect them to play well.
So the Guzman, Rivas, Minkiewicz, the League of Nations infield for the Twins. That's one of the nicknames for this infield. Here is Scott Hatteberg, and that's in for a strike. Now, what about the A's? They don't run. I mean, they don't like to risk outs. They don't like to give up outs. They stole only 46 bases all year. Durham, after they got him in the last couple of months, only stole 6 times. But what about it, Joe? These games, they did not hit a home run yesterday, and their offense, although they got a lot of men on base, their offense did not do much. And that's a ball.
You know, I'm a believer in doing things, making things happen. I mean, I take an example. Last night's game, the Yankee game, they're down by 1. Soriano walks with 2 outs. He steals second base. That turned the whole inning around. Now all of a sudden the Yankees win the ball game. I think you have to put runners in motion. You have to try to manufacture runs in the postseason. If you just sit and wait for the 3-run homer, you're going to still be sitting there.
Change up too low. 2-1 the count. Now, this game is starting out on ESPN nationally. As soon as that Giants-Atlanta game is over with, this telecast will be moving over to ABC Family. So be advised, and when it does move over there, maybe make plans to know exactly where ESPN Family is. ABC Family it is. That ball is driven deep to right field and over the head of Kadire. He plays the carom nicely. Being stopped at third is Durham, and into second with a double is Hatteberg. A body save on that carom by Kadire. Had it gotten away from him, Durham would have scored easily.
Well, it's a very difficult sun field out there, as we noted yesterday, because it appeared that he didn't see the ball right away. And then he started chasing back to the wall, and he didn't get there. Hatteberg hits this ball awfully hard. And as you said, he hits his body. Otherwise, if it bounces away, Durham would have been able to score easily. And Hatteberg may have even had a triple, but a nice play in right field there by Kadire.
So now Tejada did have a hit yesterday, but a couple of times late in the game with men on base, he struck out. Now he's got a chance to put the A's out in front. Tejada also reached a couple of times early in the game, when the Twins were fumbling almost every ball hit. Miguel Tejada, 34 homers, 131 runs batted in during the season. He's got 2 men in scoring position here. He could do a great job, though, just by hitting a ground ball to the right side.
I think this is the most misunderstood situation in the game today, John. You know, most people go up there and hit. They say, I'm going to drive in both runners. But I think in this situation, you should be hitting like there's just a runner at second base. That way, if you hit the ball to the right side, 1 run will score, and the guy at second will move over to third where he can score on another ground ball. But if you hit a ground ball to the left side, only 1 guy can score.
Tejada lifts a foul off to the right and back out of play.
And I think obviously every run and every game scoring situation that you can put yourself in is better off for the team. But it's very difficult to ask a guy that drove in 131 runs not to take his full shot at it. You know, a lot of managers have different philosophies about this situation. You know, I just really think that, you know, when you're down 1 game to none, I think you have to try to get ahead again, because I think it's very important for the A's to jump out in front today.
They've got Durham at third, Hatteberg at second, nobody out. Chavez on deck. Joe Mays struggling with his control early on. That's a curveball, and for the first time, he is ahead on the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, now if you're Tejada, you just have to hit. So I'm going to drive these runners in now. You forget about anything other than driving the runners home. And you can see that clearly in the strike zone, but he had not gotten a breaking ball over, so there was no reason for Tejada to be looking for one.
Nobody out. 2 men on. Runners at second and third. Nice pickup at third. And the runners hold, and a nice catch at first by Minkiewicz. The old Andres Galarraga spread the body out and keep your foot in the bag play. Wow, now that's the Twins defense we heard about.
Yeah, that was a great play by the third baseman, because, I mean, that ball's down the line for extra bases. And the one reason that Durham can't score, the one thing you don't do is you don't get farther off the bag than the third baseman is. And the reason for that, with no outs, you don't want to get caught with a line drive and be double off the bag at third. So that's why he was awfully close to the bag there. So he's close to the bag so he can get back if that would have been a line drive. And that's the proper way to play that.
I think Tejada thought that maybe Minkiewicz did not keep his foot in the bag, but the umpire right there said that he did, and that's quite a play by Minkiewicz. So runners still at second and third. The Twins make 2 outstanding defensive plays on 1 play. Chavez bounces 1 foul, and it is 0-1. See, the Twins had the fewest errors in all of Major League Baseball, but they made 3 yesterday. Those are just the ones they were charged with.
Right.
They made more than that.
You know, that was a tough play for Durham. If he knows it's on the ground, he's supposed to go. But, I mean, that was a tough play and a tough decision for him to make.
And that's down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike to the dangerous Chavez, who had 34 home runs. And he's got a right-handed hitter on deck, Joe, and he's got first base open.
Well, I mean, that's true, but I think he's going to try to pitch to him and just see what happens later in the count if he gets that far.
That one is hit high and deep into right field. That one is way back there. And gone, a home run. A spectacular home run by Chavez. He gets them all home. 3-0 Oakland.
Well, I think that's what the A's really needed to jump out in front. And I said yesterday, this is Miguel Tejada's team right now, but by the end of this postseason, this could be Eric Chavez's team. That's how good he is. It's a hanging curveball, and that's what it is. I mean, a hanger almost in the middle of the plate. And, I mean, when he unwinds on it, everybody knows that the A's are ahead 3-0. I mean, this is a no-doubter.
Almost to the second deck. Now Jermaine Dye. And that one is in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes.
And that could unnerve a guy right there. That was a big fly right there.
That was a connoisseur's home run.
Yeah, I like that. Yesterday he got him off to a great start by getting base hits, with runners in scoring position. I mean, he's really been swinging the bat well the last week to 10 days.
He's driven in 5 runs in these 2 games. And Jermaine Dye has a 2-0 count. David Justice on deck. But I don't understand throwing such a fat pitch like that when you got first base open.
Well, he was trying to throw a curveball, and I'm sure he wanted to bounce it or get it down, but it was a hanger. I mean, that's one of those pitches that you committed to throwing a breaking ball. You don't want to bounce it because there's a runner at third base, but you try to get it down, and he just didn't get it down. It was a hanging breaking ball.
2-1 the count. And slider is ripped fair down the left field line. Jock Jones plays the carom. Dye has a double.
Well, he hasn't really gotten anyone out. His defense got Tejada out because Tejada smoked the ball as well. So, I mean, they've hit the ball hard in this inning against Mays.
3 extra base hits from the last 4 hitters, and then 1 who would have had an extra base hit were it not for Koski.
See where the pitch is. Well, it's not as bad a pitch as the one to Chavez. That pitch there is, you can see him kind of reach away for it. It was diving away, and he rips it inside the line. And it's an easy double for Dye.
As Diaz, the umpire, the left field line umpire, right on top of the play. So Rick Anderson out to talk with his pitcher, Joe Mays. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. And again, when the game in Atlanta is over, this game will be switching over from ESPN to ABC Family. So now's the time to check out where that is.
Well, if you have DirecTV, it's 311. I'll tell you that. I have DirecTV here, so it's on 311.
All right, so there you go. If you have time to go out and install DirecTV, you're in there. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, all right. Just try to help.
There's a couple of shows on later that I'd like to see. Maybe I could just come over to your place.
All right, I'll be home.
David Justice, and that's too low for ball 1.
John, I'm going to explain later. I made a mention earlier about pitch selection and pitch calling. I want to, take some time to explain exactly what I meant by that, as the ball game progresses. I haven't forgotten, even though I know you had, but I hadn't forgotten that, I brought that up.
I hadn't forgotten.
Oh, okay.
I was just mystified as to why you
why I brought it up.
No, why you didn't go back and explain it.
All right, well, I'll explain it a little later.
Right.
After the A's cool down here.
After we get back over to ABC Family.
Yeah, okay.
1 ball, 1 strike to Justice. Runner at second. 3 runs already in. Oakland with a 3-run first inning for the 2nd day in a row. Yesterday, the Twins basically gave them the 3 runs. Although that man, Chavez, did knock in a run with a single.
I actually felt that yesterday the Twins lineup was capable of coming back against Tim Hudson from that deficit because that's their best lineup against right-handed pitching.
Back to the screen.
I don't think they can afford to fall that far behind today because with a left-hander on the mound, they do not come back as well, and they're not going to be able to, make up that deficit. So he's going to have to hold them just about where they are if he's going to have any chance of the Twins coming back in this ballgame.
Brad Radke, yesterday's Twins starter, who got here a little bit late with several of his teammates. They took the BART train, Bay Area Rapid Transit, and they took the wrong one from San Francisco. So the misadventures for the Twins started very early on, long before they ever got to the ballpark yesterday. They took the wrong train, and Radke said it wasn't so much a problem for him. He was the starting pitcher. He didn't have anything to do until game time. But for his teammates who were, Koski, Minkiewicz, the other guys who were with him, who needed to get there for batting practice and might be late, they were getting a little uptight about it.
Well, I can't feel sorry for them because they do have a team bus that drives everyone over.
Well, they
do have that.
They wanted to get here early. They like to be at the yard early. A lot of players get here early. They take the BART train over. New York, they take the subway. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Justice. Mark Ellis on deck. Curveball that apparently was a little bit high. 27th pitch of the inning for Mays, and he has only retired one man, and that was with considerable help from Corey Koski, who robbed Tejada of an extra base hit. Jermaine Dye at second, ready to go with one out. Right back to Mays. Now he had Dye hung out to dry. The throw back to third, they get him anyway. It's a double play. John Miller and Joe Morgan with you at the Oakland Coliseum, where the Athletics have just scored 3 thanks to Dave O'Brien tossing it to us there from Atlanta. And welcome to the Athletics and the Twins, game 2 of the American League Division Series, which Minnesota leads 1-0, but Oakland has a 3-0 lead on Chavez 3-run first inning homer. So those of you watching ESPN, you'll be joining NFL Tonight. Those of you on ESPN who wish to continue watching the game will need now to turn to ABC Family. And we'll be back. Game 2 from Oakland will continue after these few words. Torrey Hunter, the hitter, against Mark Mulder. Mulder goes to work now with a 3-run lead. Hunter first ball swinging into center field. Terrence Long, the body angled to avoid looking directly into the sun, makes the catch. Kind of a surprising double play to end the Oakland first inning.
Well, it was very surprising. I mean, now watch what's happened. The ball goes back to Mays. Now he has Dye hung up on the bag at second base. He decides to take the sure out at first, which would make it 2 outs. Now Dye takes off at third, and a great throw over there by Minkiewicz. Nice tag by Koski, and it ends the inning. I thought Dye, after he got hung up, he should have gone back after they turned and threw to first base, but he thought he could make third. So,
I mean, it looked to me like he was dead at second if Mays had just thrown the ball to second.
Well, he was, but he was probably getting a rundown, and they didn't want to do that. He just took the sure out at first base. That makes it 2 outs. See, if he throws, they're going to give him in a rundown, no telling what would happen. But if he throws to first, that's 2 outs, and he figured like he could get out of the inning.
Here is Minkiewicz, and he takes a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Because a smart base runner, if you get him hung up, he's going to stay in the hot box long enough for the guy who hit the ball to just take off and try to change places with him at second.
So a couple of encouraging things for the Twins in that inning was that their defense was outstanding. The Tejada play by Koski and Minkiewicz, and then Minkiewicz with that great throw. How many first basemen can throw like that?
Right. That's what made the play, the great throw by Minkiewicz to get this third out. But, you know, we expected the Twins to bounce back and play well defensively. I mean, that's they've been doing this all year. You didn't expect them to have 2 poor games in a row as they did yesterday.
But another Twins player, in this case Joe Mays, who is in his first postseason, and may have had that little overexcitement, the butterflies, if you will. That's a called strike. 3-2 now to Minkiewicz with Kadire on deck. I mean, that play at second base. Now, ordinarily, Mays would want to freeze Jermaine Dye before he just turned around and ignored him, right?
Right. Well, if there was no one out, I'm sure he would have thrown the ball to second base. But with 1 out, he wanted to make sure the second out.
That one hit very slowly. Ellis, little backhand flip, and he got him. Nice play.
That's a much more difficult play than it appears, because you're running at an angle. You can't really turn and get any much thing on the throw, so he does the next best thing. That's kind of that backhand flip, which a lot of second basemen use to go to even throw the ball to second base on the start of a double play. Now, see, he's coming in at an angle. Now he rounds it off. That's a nice play right there. And he got himself in a position. Now he gets himself in a position by moving toward the bag. Now when he throws, he's right on target.
That's what I like to call the Derek Jeter throw.
Yeah, that's. I guess we could call it that.
I first saw that on this very field last October. It was a sort of a different circumstance. Michael Kadire, and a bad memory for Oakland fans. A memory that they're trying, if not eliminate, at least limit, if they can win this series and move on for the first time. I mean, these last 2 years they had to play the Yankees first round, and they came real close to beating the Yankees both times, and yet couldn't quite do it. Now they've got the Minnesota Twins in the Twins' first postseason, a club that, by the way, that reminds a lot of the Athletics of themselves a couple of years ago. A young club, lots of talent, there for the first time. 3-1 the count. Well, this is the This is the play I'm talking about from last year, the one I remember. This is the Jeter throw.
Well, I think in Oakland they call it the non-slide. They refer to it as the non-slide,
right,
rather.
Not the Jeter throw.
Yeah, not the Jeter throw, but the non-slide.
Well, Kadire gets a walk here. The first walk allowed by Mulder. So with 2 down, A.J. Pierzynski comes up. Now, Pierzynski yesterday became the 9th player to get 4 hits in the first postseason game of his career. In the last 40 years, the only 2 to do it were Johnny Damon with the Athletics last year at Yankee Stadium and Luis Alicea of the Red Sox in 1995. Now, he also tied the all-time Major League record with hits in his first 4 postseason at-bats. Nobody's ever had 5 consecutive hits to start their postseason career. Now, he's got some interesting names on that list. Frankie Frisch had 4 hits his first 4 postseason at-bats. In those days, the World Series. That was the postseason. Mel Ott, Joe Medwick, Monty Irvin in 1951. Dusty Rhodes in '54, who had a dramatic home run, helped to turn that World Series around against Cleveland, and Johnny Damon last year. So if he gets a hit here, he'll have done something that no big league player has ever done in the history of the game. But right now he's behind in the count, 0-2. And Joe, he had 4 hits yesterday, and it was interesting hearing him talk about himself after the game. He said, "Hey, I don't know how you could even define my style. I don't feel like I have a style. I'm just up there. I'm just a guy trying to somehow pick out a pitch and make hard contact." But Doug Minkiewicz speaks much more glowingly about Pierzynski's style. He says he manages to always stay inside the ball. That's some inside baseball talk right there.
The real inside.
0-2 the count to Pierzynski. Minkiewicz grounded out slowly to the second baseman in this inning. 2 down, Kadire at first. And right back to Mulder. And that ends Pierzynski's string of hits. 1 man left. Oakland ahead 3-0 in game 2 after 1.5.
Now is the time.
Tick. Tomorrow, game 2 from Arizona. Kurt Schilling will try and get even with St. Louis. Chuck Finley, the veteran, will be on mound for the Cardinals. That's 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 Central, and 1 Pacific from the desert. The Cardinals just annihilated the Diamondbacks last night. They really hit Randy Johnson hard. 12-2 final. Mark Ellis rips one against Joe Mays. He might try for 2. The ball juggled out there, and he'll get 2 now. Jacques Jones could not come up with it cleanly.
Well, I tell you what, they're hitting some shots off of Mays here in the first inning and third. First inning, I mean, they hit a lot of hard ground balls. They hit the ball sharply, and he doesn't seem like he's really fooling anyone.
That'll be a single and an error to the left fielder.
That pitch is down and in, and Ellis just rakes it into the corner. Jacques Jones gets over there. I think it was still going to be a double because he's a left-handed thrower, and he was going to have to turn all the way around to make a throw to second base. And I still think Ellis was going to, be able to run that into a double because he was way down the line.
I didn't see Ellis running, but I believe under the rules that if he never stopped running, I think he should have been given credit for a double.
He didn't stop running.
That ball falls. And Jacques Jones will run that ball back to the infield to keep Terrence Long at first and Ellis at third. Guzman went way out for it.
Nice play there by Jones, to keep Ellis from scoring and keep Terry Long from going to second base. This is a little flare, not the right swing, actually. With a man on second and no one out, you should be trying to pull the ball. But he flares it down the left field line and right in between Jones and Guzman. But watch the play that Jones makes, comes up with it and avoids Guzman, and now he's able to hold the runners to 1 base.
It was almost with the big turn at Long, and Long runs well. He had such a big turn at first that had Jones thrown the ball toward third or toward the plate or the cutoff man or whatever, that Long was given an indication he might have just taken off for second at that point.
So Jack Jones kept them both in place.
The A's get away with it, John, but you can't hit a ball to left field on the first swing with a runner at second and no one out.
So things are going well for the Athletics now.
Well, they went well for them yesterday at the beginning. The Twins helped them a lot, but things went well for them. But I mean, I just think that, you know, in the postseason, you really have to concentrate. I mean, ran a runner at second, no one out. I have to pull the ball. You know, if I get 2 strikes, then I just try to hit it. But first pitch, I've got to at least try to pull the ball. I can't hit it down the left field, hit it to left field.
Ramon Hernandez, the catcher, the 9th place hitter. And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike to Ramon. Hernandez yesterday was 0 for 4. Minnesota won yesterday's game 7-5. Oakland ahead here 3-0 in the last of the second. Mark Mulder has handled the Twins pretty well early on. I mean, yesterday early on, even when he did not allow a run in the first, it was evident that Tim Hudson just wasn't himself. Even then, the Twins hit some balls real hard against him.
I'm glad you brought me to my point again.
I'm continuing to prompt you here.
Well, John, let me explain my point. I said that I had some questions about their pitch calling yesterday. Okay, what happens? You go into a game with a game plan. I'm going to pitch this guy in. I'm going to pitch this guy away. I'm going to do all these things. And it's great if you can pitch to that game plan. But yesterday, Hudson did not have as good control. He wasn't able to hit the spots. So what you do is you go away from that. You go to plan B and try to use what he has going for him on that particular day. And yesterday, I thought that they pitched inside to 2 hitters that they thought they could get out inside. And normally Tim Hudson could get them out if he could locate. He couldn't. He gave 2 pitches in the middle of the plate, middle end, to 2 left-handed hitters, and both of them hit home runs. And he was ahead in the count, which means that he didn't have to give in. And my point is, if you're pitching, you go to plan B. If you can't get plan A to work, you run the ball away from them, stay away from their power. And they didn't do that yesterday.
And that sharp breaking ball, a little bit low, perhaps on the outside. Full count now, 3-2. Now they got runners at first and third here with nobody out. Long is a pretty fast runner at first base. What do you think, Joe? I'm sending Long here.
Well, this is a tough call for Art Howe. It's not tough for you, but for Art Howe. You know what I mean?
He's not going.
That's right. That's Art Howe. I mean, the A's play a different style of baseball. And I must say, I can understand why he didn't send him right there, because you're in a situation that if he doesn't go, even on a ground ball, you score a run. And if he goes, he strikes out, and they throw him out, now you're in a tough situation. I mean, the inning is almost collapsing around you.
Twins will give away a run to get the double play.
So I understand why he didn't send him there.
I want more than just that 1 run, though.
No, I agree with you, but I'm just trying to figure out why, you know, in Art's mind, knowing why he does certain things.
I'm sending him, so if I get that ground ball, I get the run, and
you got
I still only have 1 out with a guy at second.
Well, you know, I agree with you, but I understand Art's thinking here. He doesn't want to mess up a big inning with a strike him out, throw him out.
Strike 3 called. Hernandez thought it was too low.
And see, then he gets thrown out at second base. If that happens, now it's 2 outs and a runner at third. So that's what you have to manage against the worst scenario sometimes. You can't just say, okay, all the things going to happen good.
Are you second guessing me?
I just know as a manager, you have to manage against the worst scenario that can happen. And that would have been the worst thing could happen. If he strikes out, throw him out at second, now there's 2 outs and a runner at third.
Well, here's the other thing. If he's
They're still in trouble now.
If he was running?
Yeah.
No, I mean, what you're saying makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But, you know, not to me, but, I mean, I think.
To the manager.
No, it makes perfect sense. But what I'm saying, if it was 3-2 and he was running, Ramon Hernandez, I think, would have swung at that pitch.
Okay, all right.
And probably hit a double.
But the point is, they're still in trouble right now.
Yeah.
They still have the Twins in trouble.
No, you've explained it.
Yeah.
And it's logical. And I think when you're at the bottom of the order, and you get first and third, nobody out, and the top of the order's coming up, that you're legitimately thinking, hey, this 2, 3, 4 run inning may be in the making right here.
I agree, but you know what I learned that from Sparky Anderson? That you don't let anybody off the hook with 1 pitch. If you got them in trouble, you can't let them get out of the jam with 1 pitch. And that's what could have happened right there. I mean, if he goes out, strike him out, throw him out, you let him out of the jam. They strike out, they're still in the jam. You don't let them out with one pitch.
Okay, so Sparky used to say that?
Yeah.
All right, well, I concede to Sparky then.
All right.
Now, he won some postseason games.
He knew what he was doing. That's why I'm quoting him. Hey, you don't hear me quoting guys that get fired, do you?
Hall of Fame manager, Sparky Anderson. That's right. And a little foul. I didn't hear you quoting Harry the Hat Walker that much.
Yeah, no. Let me show you what I was talking about, John, yesterday when we were talking about pitch selection. Watch, we're going to show you the home run yesterday. See the target inside? Now watch, look at this pitch. That's asking for trouble by going inside. Here's the other home run. Where are they? Both of them look like identical pitches, right? So if you do not have your best stuff, you're not locating properly, stay away from the hitter's power. Stay away from them.
Ray Durham walked his first time. That started a 3-run first. Swung at that curveball from Mays, fouling it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's like a hitter. You always have to have a plan B. If you go to the plate and the guy's throwing too hard for you, you have to try to think of something else to do. If you're a pitcher and your best stuff is not working that day, you have to go to something else. You have to try a different approach to getting the hitters out. You can't stick with the game plan. Like Joe Mays now, whatever his game plan was, it should be out the window. He should just be trying to do what he thinks he can get done rather than pitch the hitter's weaknesses all the time.
Change up off the outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Durham. A lot of movement on that pitch.
Well, and I like that. He's looking for something different. He's trying to find something that'll work for him, that he can go to and get some hitters out. Because they have hit the ball awfully hard on him, off of him so far in this ballgame.
Ellis at third, Long at first. The infield double play depth. Back to the screen. Got a high hard one that time.
Well, he was going for the strikeout. He's going for the strikeout here. Up and in, and that's a good attempt there. With 2 strikes, the hitter's waiting a little longer. You try to bust him up and in, get him to swing through that pitch. That's a good job by Durham just to foul it off.
At this pace, Mays will be able to go maybe 3 1/3 innings before he'll be exhausted and have to be removed just for that.
Well, if he doesn't get anyone out, they're going to get him out of there sooner than that. If he doesn't find something that he can use to get these hitters out,
and that brings
or
up,
get them off balance.
That brings up a point about yesterday with Tim Hudson and Art Howe that I want to get into.
Okay.
Remind me to get in. I'm going to get into it later.
Okay.
2-2 the count. 2 on, 1 out. And he changed up there. Coming back after that high, hard fastball, he changed up, and it almost worked. Durham just barely got a piece of it.
And there's a changeup, and it actually has movement on it away from Durham. And Durham just barely gets a piece of it, stays alive.
Ray Durham, the veteran, sort of a rental player for the Athletics. Got him for the last 2 months of the season. May not be here next year. He'll be a free agent at the end of the season. And down the left field line, slicing into the corner. Gone but foul. Wow. Now that ball, Durham's not that big a guy, and he hit it with plenty to spare to be out of the yard, but just foul. But that ball just took off.
Well, you mentioned yesterday that the ball carries well here in the daytime, and it does. I mean, that was a line drive, so it didn't get up where the wind could have any effect on it. The target this time is away. It's off the plate outside, and Durham hits it foul. I mean, if that ball's on the plate, he may hit it out of the ballpark.
I talked to some of the A's. Chavez was saying, when those flags are blowing in from left field, the ball reacts just the opposite. Well, that means the ball is shooting out to left field.
Well, it comes in and hits this big wall here and goes back out. That's what happens on these circular stadiums.
These big bowls.
Yeah.
And he said if you hit one real high in the air out that way,
right, it'll knock it down.
It could get knocked down. But otherwise, balls would just shoot out here to left field today with that wind blowing in. And when we were on the field before the game in batting practice, the wind was just whipping around down there. It's a windy day here in Oakland. Well, Durham has had quite a battle here with Joe Mays. 2-2 the count. 2 on, 1 out. And a high pop fly. Battling the sun out there is Jones. Tagging at third is Ellis. He makes the catch, and Jones will throw all the way through to the cutoff man. as Ellis was just bluffing. Minkiewicz came over as the cutoff man from first base.
Well, this is kind of reminiscent of what happened yesterday with the A's. They had chances to try to put this game away, and they could not do it. They let the Twins hang around, and that's what the Twins want to do. They just want to stay close, give themselves a shot in the late innings, and that's what's happening here now. I mean, they're not able to take advantage of these situations. They had runners at first and third, and no one out.
Now Hatteberg. Well, yesterday Oakland left 12 men on base.
Right.
And they left at least one man on base in every inning of the game. They had a hit in every inning, not just the errors and the walks, but an actual hit in every inning of that game.
Well, you have to put these guys away, or you're going to have to rely on Mulder pitching a great game, and that's, you're putting a lot of pressure on your pitching, your starting pitching, to do that.
Hatteberg hit a long double his first time, and a hanging curve too high. 1 ball, no strikes. Chuck Merriweather is the home plate umpire, with Alfonso Marquez at first, Darrell Cousins at second, Joe West at third, Laz Diaz along the left field line, Jerry Davis, the crew chief, along the right field line. That's the umpiring alignment assigned by Major League Baseball for the first 2 games anyway. They'll have a different crew when they get to Minnesota. That curveball snapped in there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's the one he was trying to throw when Chavez hit the home run. He was trying to snap it off and make sure he got it down.
And that's the problem. So, I mean, sometimes he's snapping it off, sometimes he's hanging it.
Right.
Tejada would be next. Runners at first and third, 2 down. And a foul back and out of play. Now he went back to the changeup there. 1-2.
Well, it's obvious that the location doesn't fool Chavez right there, because it's almost in the middle of the plate. I mean, Hatteberg, I'm sorry, it's right in the middle of the plate, but the speed of the pitch fooled him.
Ellis at third, Long at first. 1-2. The curveball squibbed to shortstop. Guzman throws him out, and that ends the inning. Oakland had first and third, nobody out, a chance maybe even to put this one away early. Nobody scores. The Athletics 3, the Minnesota Twins nothing. We go to the top of the 3rd inning. Minnesota's 9th place hitter Luis Rivas will lead off, followed by Jacques Jones and then Christian Guzman against the left-hander Mark Mulder. Twins have only 1 hit. That was a leadoff single in the first by Jones. He got as far as second and was stranded there. The Twins got a walk with 2 down in the second. They're trailing 3-0. Mulder starting them off with a fastball. Rivas fouling it straight back. The first game played today was in Atlanta, game 1 of the Giants-Braves National League Division Series. And the Giants defeated Atlanta 8-5. They roughed up Tom Glavine in that game. They got 6 runs against Glavine early.
Well, the Giants have been playing so well lately, John. I think that was just kind of a carryover effect from their last week or 10 days of the season.
So the one Bay Area team has won its game today. Now the Athletics try and make it a sweep of the day for the Bay Area teams here. 2 Bay Area teams in the postseason in the majors. The Giants in the National League, the Athletics here in the American League. And Barry Bonds today had only 1 hit, no homers, although Andrew Jones may have taken a home run away from him in that one. Barry Zito along with Tim Hudson. Zito will go in game 3 of this series on Friday at the Metrodome. That place will be rocking on Friday by all accounts. Sounds like they've sold 55,000 tickets. I mean, they don't even open all the seats during the regular season. They had these big curtains up in the upper deck in the outfield. They've taken those curtains down. Rivas gets a base hit to left field to start the Twins here in the 3rd. Mark Mulder pitching in the postseason. He started game 1 last year at Yankee Stadium for the Athletics. He talked to us about postseason experience.
My first pitch in Yankee Stadium last year in game 1, I wasn't nervous. I don't really get nervous. I was so focused on what I was doing out there that you didn't hear the crowd. You didn't hear anything, and people really don't believe that. But I heard nothing. I heard my coaches, I heard my teammates, and that was it. And you're so focused on that catcher's mitt and what you're trying to do out there that everything else is silent.
That ball driven deep but foul by Jacques Jones, who had a single his first time.
Well, I mean, it's great if you can focus like that, John. Very few people are capable of doing that. And I guess if the Yankee fans heard that interview, they'd say, well, we'll make sure he hears us this time if he gets back out there on the mound.
Hey,
but that's great focus.
That's pretty impressive if you didn't hear him the last time.
Right, that's great focus.
Oh, that got the bat. A foul ball. Now that's a pretty tricky way to get a foul ball. You throw one right under the guy's chin, and it hits the bat.
I remember watching some bloopers. There was Major League bloopers, and I saw a guy falling away, and he hit the knob of the bat and rolled back to the pitcher. Now that's when you're really upset.
That's bad luck. And that was bad luck for Jacques Jones. So the count is 0-2 instead of 1-1.
Well, he moved a little late. It's like he was looking for a breaking ball because he moved late on everything.
And strike three on the outside with a fastball again.
Yeah, he was definitely looking breaking ball because he was late on his movement on the fastball in, and I think Mulder realized that, and Hernandez, so they go right back with the fastball again because it looked like he was sitting on a breaking ball. Now watch, he's late. Watch his reaction. See, he's late. He can't swing at that pitch even if it's down the middle because he was just looking strictly for a breaking ball. He's late on everything. You can see the bat didn't even start because he's just looking breaking ball.
The good look at where that one was from K-zone. One out. Rivas at first. Here's Guzman. Big curveball. He gets the curveball. And it's 0-1. Now I asked Gardenhire what he thought the best way to approach facing Mulder would be for a hitter. And he said, Mulder has so many ways to come after you. He thought the best way was to focus in on one pitch in one zone. And if you didn't get it, the way he put it was, just spit on it and wait for the next one. He says, of course, when you get to 2 strikes, you have to just go out and try to fight off whatever he throws you.
Right. I mean, that's a one hitting philosophy. There are a lot of different philosophies on approach to hitting good pitchers. I mean, that's one.
That's foul by Guzman.
I mean, one of the other approaches a lot of guys use is not so much just sitting on one pitch in one location. You sit on speed. You sit on the speed. I'm looking for something hard or I'm looking for something soft. And you cover the entire plate rather than just saying I'm going to look for a fastball in the middle of the plate in, because you get a fastball over the outside corner, maybe the only pitch you get to hit in that at bat. So I think it's better to look speeds. I'm going to look hard stuff or soft stuff.
They might get 2 on this one. There's one. Tejada, as he tried to make the throw, the ball popped out of his hand. And Guzman tough to double up. Anyway, that ball was not hit hard. He runs fast. Rivas is out at second.
The one thing I saw yesterday with Tejada, he doesn't like draw his arm back really far to throw. He just kind of, wherever he catches it, he takes it out and he takes it right to the top of his body. Watch where he tries to throw this from. See, from right there, he doesn't take it all the way back like you see a lot of guys have to, extend their arm to get something on the throw. He doesn't have to do that. And that's why he's so good on the balls that he charges. He can get the ball, get it out of his glove, and just kind of flip it like a dart rather than, taking the arm and extending it back.
Now Corey Koski called out on strikes his first time. High fly ball. Long into right center, shading the eyes a moment, and he's got it. One man left. Tejada, Chavez, and Dye. The power coming up for Oakland. The Athletics 3, the Twins nothing. As we go to the last of the third here at the Coliseum. The A's mascot up in the seating area is Miguel Tejada. First ball swinging against Joe Mays, bouncing one foul. And strike one. Tejada robbed of a possible extra base hit by Corey Koski his first time. He's had 1 hit so far in 6 at-bats in this postseason. Eric Chavez, who's had the big numbers so far for Oakland, including a 3-run homer today. He's on deck. 3-0, Oakland ahead. That curveball missing inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 75 degrees at game time today. A beautiful day. Here's the look from high above Oakland at the Network Associates Coliseum. Also home of the Oakland Raiders. Another curveball. Oh, man, that looked pretty good, Joe.
That's the kind that really you usually have to attack, that hanging breaking ball. Go,
2-1. Yasky moves over toward Guzman. Now he's moving in. The wind carries it a bit. And that is one away. Tejada retired.
John, I was telling you that Tejada can get a lot on the throw without a windup. And we'll show you the example on this play yesterday. Now watch when he catches the ball, how quickly he gets it out of his glove to his hand, but his arm only goes up to the top, right there, so he gets rid of it. He doesn't have to wind up to get rid of the ball, and that was going to be a tough play, but he made it easily because he doesn't have to wind up to get rid of the ball.
Now Chavez hit a spectacular home run. Just a booming, soaring, majestic shot that sort of traced the arc of Mount Shasta, famous Northern California mountain.
I know the place.
It would have gone right over the top of Shasta.
But, you know, I thought you made a good point there, John. First base was open, and you asked the question, really, why was he challenging Chavez, who has been swinging the bat so well lately?
That's a foul that will go out of play. 1-1.
Decisions like that are the reasons that make a difference in a series. That's a hanging breaking ball. When a guy is swinging the bat well, you can't make mistakes like that to him, or he'll make you pay for it.
Well, and that's the same pitch that Tejada just took before he popped
right,
out.
Exactly. That's why I said I thought Tejada should have swung at it as well, but obviously he was looking someplace else.
A liner into left field for a base hit. Jacque Jones actually ends up backing up to play the hop. I mean, this outfield, the players, Jones, Hunter, Terrence Long, the guys had to play out there yesterday, described it in terms of being like concrete. And Jacque Jones said today he was going to prepare for the play in the outfield by going out and taking some grinders in the parking lot.
Well, it says the ball was right on the outside edge, and it was tailing away. Good hitting by Chavez to go the other way. I mean, watch, he's definitely going that way. He doesn't try to pull it. And what he does well there is he gets his top hand over it. That keeps him from hitting it into the air, hitting a fly ball to left field. He got the top hand on it. That made it a line drive.
Chavez 4 for 7 with 5 batted in this series. And sinker too low to Jermaine Dye.
Now watch his top hand, his left hand. Watch how he gets it over the top right there. Now watch he roll it. When he rolls his hand, see, that makes sure that you keep the barrel of the bat on top of the ball, and he hits a line drive. If you drop it, you hit a little soft fly ball to left field. So he got his top hand over it to keep the bat level.
Jermaine Dye hit a double his first time. Now he hits a high fly ball. Jones battling. Now the wind knocks it down. He comes back to make the catch.
And that was exactly what you were talking about earlier, John. If it gets up high, then the wind knocks it down.
The wind is blowing in from there. The balls that aren't hit that high apparently are getting blown toward left field, getting a push. That one definitely got knocked back.
And I tell you what, Jacque Jones has complained about not being able to see the ball in the Metrodome. I think he'll be glad to get back there after playing left field here in Oakland in the daytime.
Well, the Twins all said that playing here yesterday was much worse than any time in the Metrodome. Here's David Justice. Yeah, you just can't play the game, Joe, outdoors. It just doesn't work. 1 ball to no strikes. Justice hit a sort of a convoluted double play his first time. Oakland has had 6 hits in this game. In the first 3 innings, at least 1 in each of the 3. That is a base hit for Justice. A little flare along the left field line. Chavez will stop at second as Jones is getting a workout out there. Hit number 7 for the Athletics.
Well, it's a fastball tailing away, and it's off the plate, and Justice goes the other way. I said earlier that Mays needed to scrap his game plan and search for something. Well, he did do that. He's running that fastball away a lot more than he was early in the ball game. He's taking it a little off and making it run away from the left-handed hitter more. But the A's have defeated that by going the other way the last couple of hitters.
Jones has had to go after 7 different balls today. He's had to field 7 different balls, whether they be base hits or fly balls. And this is just the 3rd inning. Mark Ellis, who got a base hit to left field. And Jones was charged with an error as he had the ball bounce off his glove. Runners at first and second, 2 down. breaking ball in the dirt outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chavez at second. Justice at first. 3-0. The Athletics ahead here in the third. So again, they've got a chance to lengthen their lead. After Chavez's first inning home run with 1 out, Dye was at second.
And they didn't score after the second inning in yesterday's ball game.
They had first and third, nobody out in the second inning today and did not score. Now first and second, 2 down here in the third. 2-1 to Ellis. Terrence Long on deck. Ron Gardner hoping his pitcher can settle in here. Mays has given up 7 hits in 2 2/3 innings. That's a strike on the outside. 2-2.
Well, I think what he has started to do is grip the ball differently. You see the tail on that ball, how it runs away. Same thing with Justice. That ball is running away from the left-handed hitter, and that stays away from their power. And again, you have to give the A's credit. They have gone the other way with the pitch.
2-2. Curveball, a big chop. Guzman in the dirt, and Minkiewicz blocked it like a hockey goaltender, knocking it down with the body to make sure it didn't get past him, which would have enabled Chavez to score.
In yesterday's ball game, we saw a lack of communication from the Twins. Remember on the balls that dropped, the 1 ball that dropped in pop-up that they didn't play. This is one of those situations where someone's got to tell Guzman, hold it. No chance to get the guy. I mean, any kind of good, even a great throw, he would not have been able to get Ellis. The guys on the infield have to tell him no throw, no play, so that you do not throw that ball away. If that ball bounces away, I mean, it costs them 2 more runs. But that's the infielders. Your other infielders who are not involved in the play have to help you out on that.
Art House Ball Club have gotten base hits a lot of different ways in this inning, but they have not gotten a run yet. So here is Long. He hit a little bloop in the left for a hit his first time. Long, who had 3 bats broken yesterday. Change up. 0-1. Long in the 3rd, 5th, and 7th innings hit ground balls, and his bat snapped in 2 all 3 times, and the bat ended up back near the pitcher.
Beautiful pitch there from Mays, and you can see everything he's throwing now to the left-handed hitters, whether it be the changeup or the fastball, it's really running away towards the outside corner and even off the outside corner.
Big moment here. Oakland trying to open it up early. A little bloop. And there to catch it is Jacques Jones. So that is the inning. Oakland has left 5 men on in the last 2 innings. LaCroix and then Torrey Hunter coming up for Minnesota. 3-0 Oakland. It's not the real Oakland mascot. Strike 1 to Matthew LaCroix from Mark Mulder. Now he delivers right down the third base side, just barely foul. LaCroix flied out to left his first time. 0-2 the count. Torrey Hunter on deck.
I have to remind you, you said you wanted to talk about something.
Well, yesterday, Tim Hudson taken out of the game in the 6th inning with 1 out. And in some of the Bay Area papers today, people sort of wondered why Art Howe took one of his horses out of the game when he'd thrown so few pitches, as a base hit to right field by LaCroix. So he starts it off with a single. That's the 3rd inning of the 4 that the Twins have started off with a base hit against Mulder. Anyway, I mean, Art Howe, I think, said pretty much when we talked to him before the game what we were saying up here yesterday. Wasn't a question that he wasn't tired or he hadn't thrown that many pitches. I mean, he wasn't effective. He was making mistakes. He was throwing a lot of bad pitches. He was just having a bad day.
Right. Well, someone asked me that question today, would I have taken him out? And, my answer was yes. I thought, what Art did was, proper at the time, because I felt that if you let the Twins catch up, they would win the game. Because then you were going to match your bullpen up against theirs. And that's not your strength in this team is your starting pitching. Part of their strength is their bullpen. And if you match your bullpen up against theirs going into the late innings, they had the edge. And I think that's what Art was viewing, that he wanted to have a lead going into the late innings so that their bullpen wouldn't be as effective as it was.
Torrey Hunter skies one. Shallow right center. Drifting back across the football field and out of bounds there is Ellis. He makes the catch on number 1. Doug Minkiewicz coming up. He's wearing a microphone today. Let's listen to some of the adventures of Minkiewicz.
Please don't hit me the ball. Please don't hit me the ball. I will screw it up somehow, some way. Only fat guys pull their pants up. If you're going to look like hell in a uniform, you might as well do it the whole way. Right fielder. I found my first gray hair a couple days ago. See what happens when you hit 260? You start getting gray hair.
He's a schmoozer, Joe. You get over to first base, he likes to schmooze with you.
You know, that's a lot of first basemen do that. They like to talk, you know, to the runners and so forth and so on. I mean, I think it's good. It keeps them in the game.
I mean, you had guys who used to like to chat you up when you got to first base?
Yeah, and actually you break the runner's concentration if you talk to them a lot.
There's a curveball to Minkiewicz from Mulder for ball 1.
I mean, catchers used to do that too. They talk to you when you're hitting and, you know, kind of distract you.
Well, did you like to chit-chat back to him?
No, not the catchers. I didn't mind at first base, but not catchers.
LeCroy at first. Hatterberg on the bag with him. And LeCroy back to the bag.
I was playing one day, and Joe Torre, the manager of the New York Yankees, was catching. And Joe started talking to me, and I started answering him. And I remember Eddie Matthews was playing third, and he yelled at both of us, "Let's play baseball." I remember that specifically. Yeah, Joe and I were I don't even know what we were talking about.
Joe Torre was schmoozing with you?
Yeah, that's when he was a catcher.
1 ball, 1 strike. But now I see Torre all the time in those camera shots in the dugout at Yankee Stadium. Seems like he never talks to anybody.
But he does. Joe is very talkative. I mean, he really is. I mean, I think the problem is, you know, he's talking when he's not on camera a lot, but, you know, maybe we catch him at the wrong time. But Joe is very talkative. He enjoys baseball.
Doug Minkiewicz, the hitter. Get a lot of gray hairs, apparently. That's what happens when you hit only 260. No swing there, says Joe West on the appeal. Third base umpire. 2-1 the count. Ron Gardenhire with A.J. Przinsky. Przinsky's very talkative.
And Gardenhire is, too. I mean, he's kind of he has a great personality for this ball club, for the young guys, you know, that he has on this team.
Yesterday, he said he had to smile. He said the stuff that was happening, but also just trying to get the guys to like, hey, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. Let's just relax now and just go play our game.
Well, I mean, he didn't get a base hit yesterday. He didn't score a run, but I thought he was just as important as any of the other players by the way that he kept his composure.
Minkiewicz out to Long over in left center. 2 down. Yesterday, Minkiewicz was smoozing with Jermaine Dive.
I don't know about you, I'm starving. I thought playoff games are supposed to be quick. Oh, no. We played one against the Yankees and 1 year when Lytle pitched against Alduque.
Now, Jermaine Dye didn't seem like he wanted to sort of chit-chat there, Joe. Now, Mike Quaddy, though, the first base coach, he got into the whole chit-chat mode. But when he said, I don't know about you, but I'm hungry, you see that little look that Jermaine Dye gave him?
John, I think, you know, the players kind of take on the personality of their manager. I mean, you've heard that before, but I think it's a fact. I mean, if your manager panics in the dugout, the players panic. The managers keep their composure. Usually the players can follow suit.
Fans thought that one should have been called a strike just off the inside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Kadire. Well, you know, yesterday, Gardenhire told us a story about Torrey Hunter getting upset with Kadire when he didn't score in that little bloop single in the second inning that Przinsky hit. And he made a base running mistake. Kadire did. And Torrey Hunter just started shouting from the dugout at Kadire, and then Gardenhire said, Torrey, calm down. Calm down. And then Torrey turned to the guys on the bench and says, my bad. My bad. 2-2. So a few moments later, they didn't score when they had, you know, a great opportunity to score. And the guy, Jock Jones, swung at a bad ball for strike 3. And Hunter jumped up again and started shouting. And Gardenhire said, Torrey, calm down. You're right. You're right. Torrey went back and sat down again. 2-2 the count. Here's that play yesterday when Kadire did not score, and this little bloop by Pierzynski. And there was he made a mistake on it. And there's Torrey Hunter's reaction. And then the double play a little while later, and they did not score at all. And Torrey was again a little upset. Here's Mulder, and that is the inning. 3 times in 4 innings, the Twin has had a leadoff single. It has come to nothing against Mulder.
Earlier today, the Giants and Braves met in a game that was a lot closer than it should have been. Gary Sheffield came up with a ninth, chance to tie it, and grounded into a double play.
You got to get Sheffield out. You got to make quality pitches. That slider right there, that was nasty.
Earlier, he had homered in the game. A Benito Santiago error allowed the Braves to stay in the game, and ultimately, a home run pulled them within 3. But it's the Giants drawing first blood on the road. Back to you, John.
All right, thanks, Carl. Still to come, the Angels and the Yankees, Game 2 at Yankee Stadium. That's at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Fox tonight. Then tomorrow, the Cardinals and Diamondbacks, Game 2. Big one for the D-backs. They need to win. Kurt Schilling will be on the mound against Chuck Finley. 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and 1 Pacific. And then Game 2, Giants-Braves tomorrow night. Big one for Atlanta. The Giants will have the Braves right-handed Kevin Millwood, not Greg Maddux. Kevin Millwood now, they've announced, is going to go in that ball game for Atlanta. Kirk Rita, the left-hander, will go for the Giants. That's 8 o'clock on Fox tomorrow night. And that's a ball a little bit too low to Ramon Hernandez, the Oakland catcher, hitting 9th in the order. He'll be followed by Ray Durham and then Scott Hatteberg. 3-0. The Athletics ahead. A little troublesome because, I mean, Mulder's making 3 look like 12 right now. But on the other hand, they've had a chance to get a lot more than they have. And they've frittered away some opportunities to do so. Hernandez is thrown out there by Rivas, 1 away.
John, I said when your plan A doesn't work, you have to go to plan B. And you can see that Mays is talking to Pierzynski. He's telling him, I'm going to turn the ball over. I'm going to put it. See, he's giving you that impression, and that's what we've seen him change earlier in the ball game. We showed you the ball running away, and that's basically what he's saying. If I get up on top and turn it over, I can run the ball away from these left-handed hitters and get a little more sink on it, and that's exactly why he's been successful so far.
Durham shows bunt, takes 1 ball to no strikes.
And again, see, he's running everything away. He has not come inside on any of the left-handed hitters after Chavez hit the home run and they were hitting the ball so hard. Now you see him trying to, go to a different approach. Well, he came in there, but he's gone to a little different approach of trying to turn the ball over and stay away from these A's hitters' power. And I think that's smart because, like I say, the game plan is only as good as the execution. They can tell you pitch this guy in, this guy away, but if you can't get the ball to those locations, then you have to do whatever you can do that day to try to get them out. And I think he's discovered that his best chance today is to turn the ball over and use his changeup.
Durham has walked, starting a 3-run rally, and he's flied out to shallow left, and he gets hit.
Like it hit him right on the ankle. That's smart.
Well, Durham is up now, running with the trainer, but as he started running up the first base line, the body wasn't as willing as the spirit.
By the way, were we finished with that Art Howe discussion? Were you finished?
Well, I wasn't here. Let's see where they hit it first. Oh, well, right at the toes.
Yeah, I got
on the instep.
Well, we know the K zone can register a ball that far out of the strike zone and got that one.
Yeah, it's not a strike if it strikes you on the foot. So with 1 out, Durham is aboard. I don't know, the way looking doesn't look like he might be attempting a steal anytime soon. But sometimes guys look like they're can hardly able to walk, and then the next pitch they take off. Hatteberg has doubled, and he is grounded out, and he takes ball 1. Anyway, it wasn't so much a discussion. It was just the notion that Art Howe somehow made a mistake taking him out too early when he hadn't thrown many pitches sort of leaves out the fact that Hudson was throwing very poorly yesterday. He wasn't himself. He had a bad game.
Yeah, he could not get the ball down. That was the thing that killed him. He could not get the ball down. He may have had good stuff. He may have felt like he had good stuff, but he couldn't locate it. Everything was up. And, you know, they had given him a 5-1 lead. And again, I think Art felt like, hey, I just can't let them tie the ball game. They eventually tied it, of course, and won, but that was his thinking.
And he had things set up nicely for Lilly. Lilly, who'd been real tough on lefties, and he had 4 of the next 6 hitters were lefties, and one of the other ones was a switch hitter whose weak side is batting right-handed. So he had the next 6 hitters that seemed to be set up just right for Lilly.
Well, now I'm not going to, question, Art, because he knows his team much better than I do. I mean, I'm just, Lilly just had not pitched that much, after coming off the disabled list, so he wasn't effective, but. Art knew exactly what he wanted to do, and it didn't work. I mean, a lot of times you have things set up and they just do not work out. So, and you can't, just second guess yourself.
That's Tony Fiore, a right-hander up in the Minnesota bullpen. Rick Stelmazik, the bullpen coach, alongside, and the umpire out there is. Let's see, that's Joe West along the right field line. I think earlier I said Joe West was at third base. At third base today is Darryl Cousins, and I hope I have this right. No, that's Darryl Cousins.
That's not Joe West.
That's Darryl Cousins.
By the way, it's country Joe West. That's what he prefers.
Hatteberg into center field in a little bit now is Torrey Hunter. And that is out number 2. So Hatteberg is gone. Now 1 for 3. And Miguel Tejada will come up.
Well, that ball's right in the middle of the plate. It was started on the inside and ran back to the middle. And that's why Hatteberg is upset. A lot of times we see guys throw the bat. It's not all the time just because they made an out. It's because they missed the pitch that they know they had to hit. It's not just, I'm going to throw the bat because I made an out. It's the pitch that you made the out on that frustrates you.
Hatteberg, who hit one of the most memorable home runs of the year for the Athletics. His home run was the winning run in the last of the 9th inning in the 20th consecutive victory for Oakland. He hit it against the Kansas City Royals, against Jason Grimsley, after they had frittered away an 11-0 lead. Hatteberg made it all turn out happily with a home run into right center. 20 in a row.
Until they went to Minnesota.
And Brad Radke
shut them out.
Tejada 0 for 2 in this game. And he is 1 for 7 in this series. 3-0. The Athletics are leading. Durham at first base. Now, maybe Durham's not able after getting hit in the foot, but at some point I'm thinking, I mean, the A's are showing themselves now, unless the Twins hand them the runs with errors and misplays, or they hit a home run, they're not scoring. Why not set a guy loose who's capable?
Isn't that the typical A's offense, though? I mean, they get some help by getting some bases on balls. They take advantage of other teams' errors and they hit some balls out of the ballpark. They're not a team that manufactures a lot of runs. I mean, they may hit themselves into a lead or something, but they're not going to steal a lot of bases. They're not going to hit and run a lot. They just don't do a lot of things to manufacture that single run. They're always like playing for the big inning rather than some of the one-run innings.
1-2 the count. Rips that one left center into the alleyway. Now Durham is off and running. Torrey Hunter. Here comes the relay to Guzman. Durham heading home. Chief! A double for Tejada. And Oakland leads 4-0.
An example of what you talked about earlier, that outfield and how quick it is. That ball, Torrey Hunter couldn't even cut it off. And Durham didn't show any effect of the being hit by the pitch. I mean, he hustled around there because I actually thought Guzman was going to have a shot at him. There's a little slide piece away, and I mean, he just rips it. Now watch this ball. When it hits the ground, I mean, it's gone. See, there's no way Hunter can even cut it off. Well, they finally listened to you. Now they're going to walk Chavez.
So the hit batsman turns into a run. Oakland finally gets that clutch 2-out hit.
And that's a very, very important run because, again, they didn't score yesterday after the second inning. And, you know, you have to continue to add on when you're playing a team like the Twins. If you let them just stay close or stay around, I mean, anything can happen. And that's the way the Twins were thinking coming into this series. Talking to Gardner, he said, we just want to stay around, stay close to the late innings, and then give ourselves a shot.
Gardenhire might be coming out. He's up under the step of the dugout here. You got Dye, the right-handed hitter, coming up. 2 men on, 2 men out.
Well, they're looking to see what Dye's record is against Mays and what his record would be against Fiore, and that's what he's thinking about. That's why they have all those statistics right on the bench now.
Well, Dye has never had a hit against Fiore, and he's hitting .280 lifetime against Joe Mays, including a double today. 25 career at bats. He only faced Fiore a handful of times. But there's the call. But it's been a long day for Mays anyway. Thrown 86 pitches already in 3 2/3 innings. 4-0 Oakland. Fiore coming on. We'll be back. We're at the Oakland Coliseum, and the hometown nine has a 4-0 lead over the Minnesota Twins. Mark Mulder has pitched 4 shutout innings, and he has been outstanding. Joe Mays, a tortured 3 2/3, 4 runs, 9 hits allowed, 86 pitches thrown on our Reese's pitching summary. Here's Jermaine Dye against Tony Fiore, and that one took off up and in. Fiore had a very nice season for the Twins. Mostly as a reliever. He was 10-3 with a 3.16 ERA, 91 innings pitched, only 74 hits allowed. Throws a very good sinker. 2 men on, and he floats that one up there. Wow, where was that pitch? Jermaine Dye 0 for 4 lifetime against Fiore. Fiore, guy who, let's take a look at that pitch again.
Yeah, but there you go, umpiring again.
Right there.
Well, at least we finally found one that yesterday you were correct. And the umpire was wrong.
True. And I was just barely correct on that one.
I don't know what that pitch is, John. It looks more like a knuckleball or something.
Well, the way he gripped it, I thought it was a palm ball.
There's a palm ball. You're right. I mean, it looks like there's just nothing on it.
Well, he threw it at 71 miles an hour.
Well, they called a ball 4 for going to his mouth.
So Dye ends up getting the walk. Looks like Joe West, the third base umpire, is the one who made the call. And
yeah, well, he's saying that he was off the mound, off of the the dirt part when he went to his mouth, but they're calling it ball 4.
Man, every Twins player is having a painful introduction to postseason play, aren't they?
Well, they're getting the one good thing you can say, they're getting it all out now before they go home, where they can kind of keep things under control and be in their own environment.
So the bases are loaded, and here comes David Justice. Tejada, who hit the 2-out double to knock in a run at third now. Chavez, who was walked intentionally at second, and Dye, the runner at first. And here's Justice, the veteran. And that's too low. Now that had a little downward movement on it. There's Tejada, Chavez, and Dye, the 3 base runners. Oakland with a chance to bust it open here in the 4th inning. Joe Mays responsible for 2 of those runners. That's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now watch Fiore very closely. So he gets the throwback from Przinsky. And then, whoop.
Well, he backed off, but he didn't back off the rubber far enough. You could see him going backwards, but he didn't go far enough.
I mean, you got to go off the dirt and onto the grass before you can do that. And he misses with another changeup, too low, 2-1 the count. Plus, I mean, and we didn't stand the replay long enough. After you touch your hand to your mouth, you have to wipe it off.
You're supposed to anyway.
Or at least look like you're wiping it off. That is a fair ball. And now they'll start running. Tejada scores. Chavez scores. Here comes Dye. And they all score a triple. 7-0 Oakland.
That's one of the reasons they love David Justice here in his postseason experience. He worked his way into a perfect hitting situation there with the bases loaded. He knew that he had to get a fastball there. And, I mean, he turned on it and rolled it down into the corner. He knows he's going to get a fastball, and he just hits a bullet. You can see him extend out and turn on this ball. See, we've seen him go the other way a lot, but he knew he was going to get a pitch here, and he was going to try to drive it.
Bluffing the butt, Ellis taking a ball. Ellis a single to left, and he has had an infield single. 2 for 2.
The problem with a guy that throws a lot of changeups, and that's his best pitch, is if he doesn't get it over, he doesn't have a fastball that he can throw to get anyone out.
That fastball is ripped deep and foul down the left field line.
And with the bases loaded, I mean, he had to come in to Justice. He's not going to walk a run in. So he has to throw him a fastball. You can see Justice, he was looking dead red, and he turned on it. He was really trying to drive it. I mean, he was probably trying to hit it out of the ballpark, but he was definitely trying to drive it.
And the reaction in that Oakland dugout, that's the hit they've been looking for 2 days.
Well, I think Tejada got the one that they were looking for to extend the inning, you know, just to get one run. That one run made a big difference. You know, 4-0 was going to be a great deal. And the one that Justice hit there, just, that, as you say, blew it open.
No, that's a good point, though. I mean, Tejada's at bat is where their innings have been done.
Right.
Not just Tejada, but whoever's been up there in that spot with 2 down.
So his was the key hit. It extended the inning for Justice.
Ellis with a little bloop. This could be trouble. It's falling. It is in there. Ellis digs for second. He's in. Justice has scored. 8-0 Oakland. Ellis is 3 for 3 today.
Pitch is way off the plate. You can see he just reaches out and pokes at it. But when things are going well for you, those balls drop in. We've seen a couple of other balls hit by the A's drop in as well. And it's that old saying, a couple of bloops and a couple of blasts, and we'll have quite a few runs on the board. And that's what the A's have. They've hit a lot of balls hard in this ball game as well.
So Ellis with the bloop. Now Terrence Long. Long has had a bloop today. A little bloop into shallow left field for a single. He's also flied out to left. He takes a strike. So Fiore ended up walking Jermaine Dye. And I might have walked him anyway, but he actually walked him on a pitch he didn't throw. Then Justice with the bases loaded, getting ahead of the count, ripped a triple past first and into the right field corner. Now the bloop double by Ellis. 6 extra base hits for the game for the Athletics as that changeup misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's an A's fan with his green and gold. There's a guy, what we call it, the T-Long pack next to him.
It's like Terrence Long's fan club out there. The T-Long pack. 1-2. The ball flew out of the hand of Pierzynski as he cocked the arm. Ellis stays at second. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Long is the 9th hitter of the inning as Oakland has put together 5 runs here in the 4th, and they lead 8-0 now. Yesterday the Twins came back from a 5-1 deficit and won the game. But now Oakland, unlike yesterday, they have added to their early lead today. They've had 4 doubles, a triple, and a home run today. 1-2 the count. And a foul off to the left into the lower deck. Still 1-2. Twins yesterday became the first road team to win game 1 of a postseason series after trailing by at least 4 runs. I mean, the first.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, John. In the postseason, you're going to face good pitching on both sides. And if you get a 4-0 lead, I mean, you figure that they're not going to give up any more than 4. And if you tack 1 or 2 on as the game goes along, pretty much you're going to lose that ball game.
And a changeup misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now they're the first road team,
right?
And just in a game 1. Right. But there's a lot of.
I would bet that. I mean, you wouldn't have given them a chance yesterday with a 5-1 deficit and Tim Hudson on the mound. That's the way you viewed it. But the Twins didn't view it that way, and they did a great job of coming back.
I thought they could.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to tell you, and when Tim Hudson's right, and you give him a 5-1 lead, normally you're not going to come back because he throws ground balls. He keeps the ball in the ballpark.
I saw it coming.
But that was an unusual situation yesterday for Tim Hudson.
Now this is going to be trouble. He got him. Christian Guzman. Beautifully done. But the very nice play comes after 5 runs scoring. Tejada with 1. 3 knocked in by Justice. The Athletics have a huge lead, 8-0. Yeah, we've been watching some baseball A's style. The Athletics out in front here, 8-0. That's one of their slogans. And the mighty man Mulder. Mulder, most often this year, has not needed as many as 8 runs to take charge of a game, but he's got 8 on his side right now as Pierzynski looks at a fastball for a called strike.
And the opposite of yesterday, I thought they had a good chance of, being able to put some runs on the board, not necessarily win the ball game, but their best lineup is this left-handed hitting lineup, and that's very effective against right-handed pitching. So they had a chance of coming back yesterday. But, they do not handle left-handed pitching that well, so it's going to be very difficult for them to come back, even if it wasn't 7-0. I mean, 4-0 was a big mountain for them to have to try to climb.
Pierzynski hit one back to Mulder his first time. He's 0 for 1, the 8th place hitter. And that's a ball. 2-1 the count. Now, Mulder was 2-1 this year, then went on the disabled list. Returned from the DL on May the 10th and lost his first 3 decisions after that. So he was 2-4. That's off the foot of Pierzynski. 2-2 the count. Since that time, he has gone 17-3. Now, in the majors, only one pitcher has pitched better in that span than Mulder. I mean, has had a better record. And that is the Twins' Game 3 opponent, Barry Zito. Zito went 18-3 in that same time span. Mulder went 17-3. And isn't it nice to be the Oakland Athletics with pitchers like that? This is Ellis, and he got it. Another nice play by Ellis. That's a couple he's made on slow rollers like that. Got Minkiewicz in one in the 2nd inning. Beginning October 19th, it's 13 nights of creepy movies. The scariest places on earth. Dares and the Extreme. Illusions of Chris Angel. Mind Freak. 13 Nights of Halloween begins October 19th on ABC Family.
I went right home yesterday and set my TiVo for those 13 nights.
Yeah, I went right home and set my Betamax. 1 ball and no strikes to Luis Rivas. He hit a single his first time. 13 Nights of Halloween. It's already started in some households.
Well, that green works for the Oakland A's.
And Charlie Finley, when he owned the ball club, it was the Kelly green and the Fort Knox gold, he called it. And they had a road uniform. It was sort of a greenish gray that he called Pacific Ocean Misty Green. And then on Sundays they wear their all-white uniforms like they're wearing right now. Remember, they used in those days they had the green tops and the gold tops, and when they wore the all-whites, he called that the wedding gown white ensemble. So ball 4 to Rivas. And from the Saturn Lightship, San Francisco Bay, with the Oakland San Francisco Bay Bridge in the foreground, and the Golden Gate Bridge in the background, and beyond that, but beyond the hills over there in Marin, Fort Cronkite, the Pacific Ocean. And I don't see the clouds and the fog which you associate with the Golden Gate. There's the Saturn Lightship, 1,000 feet above. Saturn and its retailers are hoping that you've enjoyed the American League Division Series coverage, and we're certainly very pleased to have them with us. That's one, and Tejada gets two. Jock Jones hit one right to the bag at second. And talk about timing. Tejada was right on the bag when he grabbed it and flipped it over to first. That was a quick double play. 8-0 Oakland. Nothing Oakland. We go to the last of the fifth inning. 3 in the first, 5 in the fourth for the Athletics. Justice keyed that 5-run fourth with a 3-run triple. Ramon Hernandez leads off now against Tony Fiore, the reliever for the Twins, who throws him a called strike. Hernandez is 0 for 2 in the game. Ray Durham, the leadoff man, on deck. That fourth inning rally started with Durham getting hit on the foot, and with 2 outs and Durham still at first, Tejada hit the double to knock him in. Here is Corey Koski, and Hernandez is now 0 for 3 in this game and 0 for 7 in the series. That will bring up Ray Durham. 8-0, Oakland ahead. Now remember, before this series ever started, before the Twins went out and won Game 1, you would have figured the main thing for the Twins, if they could split this series, it would give them that opportunity to use that great home field advantage at the Metrodome to win the 2 there and win the series without having to come back here. So coming in, they were, you would figure they would have been satisfied with the split, but when you win Game 1, now you're thinking, hey, we could be way in charge going home. Kyle Loesch up in the bullpen, the right-hander for the Twins. Now on Friday, they will be leaving the sunshine and this beautiful clear sky weather we've had here in Oakland for the land where all the women are strong, all the men are good looking, and all the children are above average, where they eat powder milk biscuits, which gives you the strength to get up and do what needs to be done. Actually, that's Lake Wobegon. But as I understand it, Minneapolis is not far from Lake Wobegon.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'll have to remember that.
And that's a strike. And my thanks to Garrison Keeler.
Yeah.
Who
I
sort of invented Lake Wobegon.
Yeah.
You knew I didn't invent it.
Well, I wasn't sure, but I mean, you know.
3-1. And that's a base hit for Durham. And look at that. It's across the parking lot and out to the wall out there. And Durham, he had ideas about going for 3, but he pulls up at second. Man, he was streaking towards second. And then just as soon as he put it in high gear, he slowed up and decided to stay with 2.
And I mean, I think that's a good play because, I mean, you're ahead 7-0. You don't want to try to force the issue too much. I think if the score is 0-0, he probably would have tried to get to third base. But, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, that ball just shoots through that dry area out there.
There's really no grass out there. The grass died. They painted it green so that it looks like it's supposed to look from up above. But
well, this is where partly the bleachers were on Sunday for the Raiders game. And that definitely kills the grass.
Well, it's just shooting across that outfield, just like it's the artificial turf. And the players all said they don't think there's much difference. I mean, it just shoots.
Well, we saw a ground ball just past the second baseman go all the way to the wall for a triple yesterday. So definitely speeds up once it gets out there and hits that hard pan. That's a golfing term. We like
hard pan?
The hard pan. You're hitting this shot off the hard pan. Or hitting it onto the hard pan. It really rolls, you know. It's a golfing term.
Yeah. I used to play golf. So I gave it up for the good of the game. 1-2 the count.
And 7 extra base hits for the A's. Remember, they did not hit a home run yesterday. It was the Twins hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Now Durham is going to try it, and he makes it. Pierzynski kept the ball from getting by him, and Durham made it anyway. Now the infield comes in for the Twins, already trailing 8-0. Durham at third after the wild pitch. Hatteberg with a count of 2 balls, 2 strikes against Tony Fiore. Hatteberg has hit a double, has grounded out and flied out. Change up, grounded into right field, under the glove of Minkiewicz. 9-0 Oakland.
Well, when you play the infield in, I mean, you limit the range of your infielders, obviously, because they just do not have time to react and move to the ball. And that ball there just seemed to, I think he misjudged the bounce. And watch, he gets over there, Minkiewicz gets over there, and it looks like he's going to catch it, but it's a tough in-between hop, and he wasn't able to come up with it. Watch, see, this is an in-between hop. See how he tries to go get it, and he just couldn't make the play. That's a difficult play to make when the infield's already in.
Tejada, who was 1 for 3, hit a double, knocked in a run in the 4th. Ball to no strikes. 9-0 Oakland. They have 13 hits in the game, and again, for the second day in a row, they've had a hit in every inning of the game. That's 14 consecutive innings in this series now, in which they've had a base hit or more. Today, they have had at least 2 hits in each inning. Has given up 4 hits since he entered the game in just 2/3 of an inning pitched. And on the phone from the Minnesota dugout, Jim Little, the bench coach. And changeup floats in very high. So I mean, it looks like a knuckleball, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I say. It
so slowly.
Well, I've never seen even a palm ball, because the real reason you throw a palm ball to make it effective is the arm speed. It looks like it jumps out of your hand and then it just comes out softly.
Fastball too high. Tejada walks. Eight hitters faced by Fiore, and 6 of them have reached base. He came on in the 4th inning. He's walked 2, given up 4 hits, and retired only 2 guys. And Eric Chavez, who's had a big day and a big series already, comes back for more.
Well, I think his hit was key in the first inning because it gave them the lead. And the last thing you wanted to do if you were the A's was fall behind after you've lost 5 in a row in the postseason here at home. I mean, you should say, here we go again. And especially with the Twins, I would have given them a little more confidence to be ahead in this ball game after coming from behind yesterday.
Now, Rick Anderson, the pitching coach, actually it was Rick Anderson who was on the phone to the bullpen. Now he's out to the mound.
Now there's a curveball, and you can see it's right around the letters. As Reggie Jackson used to say, it was already fence high. All I had to do was hit it. That one was up there.
Now, when you were gone a couple times, I worked with Reggie. He said, when it comes in fence high, hit it over the fence. In the bullpen, Kyle Loesch, the right-hander, warming up.
They were showing highlights of the history of the Oakland A's, and it showed Reggie hitting a lot of home runs, getting base hits. And in fact, I had a chance to talk to Reggie this morning. He's in his home in Monterey, California. He's probably watching the game.
The Athletics moved to Oakland 1968 from Kansas City. That's a little bloop foul, and Jacques Jones gets there after a long run in the bullpen area. And that is the first time today that Chavez has been retired. 2 down.
Well, you mentioned Jock Jones has had a lot of action in left field today. Now he's getting it in foul territory as well.
But that Oakland ball club, I mean, they came out, they're owned by Charlie Finley. They had a lot of outstanding young talent. I mean, they had pitchers like Catfish Hunter, Raleigh Fingers. They had players like Reggie Jackson, Sal Bando, Rick Mundy was on that team, Bert Campaneris. And they added a few pieces here and there. A young Vida Blue burst upon the scene, 1971. Jermaine Dye with a soaring pop-up. And Rivas, be careful, and he makes the catch. Oakland gets another run. 2 men left. Now we're going to the 6th inning. Guzman, Koski, and LeCroy coming up.
Now is the time.
Tick.
The Angels will be hosting the New York Yankees in Game 3 on Friday, a game which we'll have for you on ABC Family, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Tonight they play Game 2 at Yankee Stadium. I think it's Kevin Napier and Andy Pettit going tonight. That will be on Fox at 8 Eastern and 5 Pacific. We'll have Game 3 on ABC Family. Christian Guzman against Mulder, fouling one back and out of play. Mulder's got a 3-hit shutout going, and Oakland has 9 runs on the board on his behalf. Friday from Edison Field, Ramon Ortiz will go for the Angels, and Mike Messina, who had a long slump during the season and yet finished up as strong as ever. He was outstanding.
We did the game in Boston. Remember, they went there last time through, and he had an earned run average of 4.94. And from that time on, look how much he lowered it. And it's very difficult to do, you know, that late in the season. So he pitched really well down the stretch to lower it from 4.94 to 4.05. I mean, that's almost a complete run. I mean, that's amazing.
Well, last Tuesday he pitched a complete game and a shutout for a win, and then he went 5 innings in his final tune-up on Sunday and gave up no earned runs in that one either. And Guzman drives one high in the air, deep to left field. This one back there, Justice. No, home run. Made it above the scoreboard. That is a home run. So it is 9-1 now. The Twins get their first run. Guzman, who hit 9 home runs this year, goes deep. If you hit it above that scoreboard, that is a home run. And there's a 5 or 6 foot area from that scoreboard back to where those advertising panels are, above the scoreboard.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I thought that was a tough play, but good job by the umpire, left field umpire. He went all the way down the line, stood and looked across, and he could tell whether that ball went out or not.
Corey Koski, the hitter now.
You see, there's the fly ball.
Koski rips one foul.
Now here's a fly ball going out there, and like I said, it's very difficult there. But the third base umpire, ALDS, is over there looking straight across, and he can tell whether that ball goes over that little cutout or not. You see it bounces back on the field, but it was over the wall for a home run.
Koski is struck out and flied out. Curveball, little tap. Mulder throws him out. Koski is 0 for 3. Yeah, when you're on the field, say at home plate or in that area during batting practice, you look out there and it looks like those advertising panels are an extension of that scoreboard.
Part of the wall.
But in fact, they are set back several feet, which we could tell from that shot, which was from up above. Joe Vanderford, I think, got that shot for us.
And that's why you have line umpires that can go down the line and look across and see this. You can see the panel there. There is room for it to hit on top, bounce against the wall, and come back.
Yeah, it's 5 or 6 feet across there.
But that's one of the reasons I said you have umpires down the left field line and the right field line. They add 2 extra umpires in the postseason so that you will not make the mistakes. Here's the left field umpire down the left field line. There's Joe West, the third base umpire. That's ALDS, and down the left field line.
And that's a base hit for Matthew LeCroy. getting the start today as a designated hitter, and he's 2 for 3 against Mulder. Now, there's something that I guess we can start talking about as we go along a little bit here, which is that Oakland has determined that they will go with 3 starters, the big 3, Hudson, Mulder, and Zito. So if there's a game 4, Hudson would come back on 3 days of rest. Now, he only threw 77 pitches yesterday. Shouldn't be a big problem. If there's a game 5 on Sunday, that means Mulder would be scheduled to come back on 3 days rest. So should Art Howe at some point here start thinking about, and I'm sure he's already thinking about it, but is he thinking about limiting Mulder's pitches since it's a real lopsided game?
I don't think he's going to limit them any more than he would, say, down the stretch of the regular season. First of all, you have to win this game. I mean, I know we look here, the score is 9-1. We say, well, Oakland is in complete control, and that's true. But teams score so many runs nowadays, John. You've seen 9-1 leads blown before this year. So you have to be sure that the game is under control before you even start about changing anything that's going on out there. So I would say that he's just going to let him pitch until he knows that he's got this game won.
Torrey Hunter hitting a foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Torrey Hunter. That was the 81st pitch thrown by Mulder.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that they may limit him to like 100 pitches or something, but that's probably just normal, after coming off of the arm problems that he had early in the year.
Hunter 0 for 2, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a foul that will go back out of play. Well, Art Howe told us exactly why they had decided to go with the 3-man rotation coming into this, and when Torrey Hunter's at-bat is completed, we'll let you hear from Art Howe himself about it.
Can I speculate? Or I'll just wait.
Go ahead. That's your job. What are you here for?
Well, he's tried 4-man rotations before, and he's never won.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, he was playing against the Yankees. And he says he has these 3 horses, and he's just going to ride them.
Yeah.
Did I come close? I mean,
well, I'm not going to speak on behalf of Art Howe.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd already heard him speak.
Would you like me to
I thought you interviewed him or something.
You'd like me to comment on your speculation?
Yeah, I mean, I thought you interviewed Art to ask him that question.
I think that your speculation is very well considered and could well be true.
All right, good. I like that.
Oh, man, that's the splitter from Mulder. Well, let's find out what Art Howe himself said about going with the 3-man rotation.
Those 3 pitchers are hungry, and they've all pitched well in the postseason. And if they have to pitch on short rest, they want that opportunity. And we feel the same way. They're our best. So if you're going to have a short series, let's run the best 3 guys out there for all 5 games, and if need be, and see what happens. We've tried the 4-man and it hasn't worked, so we're going to go with the 3-man this year.
I mean, Art, I didn't write that script for him. But that's exactly what I would have said if you'd asked me that question.
It's like the old cliche about great minds thinking alike. Well, that's the point. I mean, remember 2 years ago, the Yankees had to fly all night back here with the A's, the older Yankees against the young A's for a 5th game. But who was Oakland's 5th starter? Gil Heredia.
Right.
Not Mulder, not Zito, not Hudson, but Gil Heredia. Yeah. And Gil Heredia had pitched in game 1.
Right,
because the big guys had pitched right down to the final day to make sure they won the division title. And Gil Heredia had a pretty good year for Oakland that year. I mean, he did a very fine job as a 4th starter, but did not have a very good 5th game. The Yankees got, 5 or 6 runs in the 1st inning of that game.
Well, real quickly they did it, too.
Yeah.
That was the problem, because the A's did come back, made a comeback or whatever, but they were down so far early in that contest.
But look at this, since the middle of August.
Yeah.
Hudson, Mulder, and Zito, the 3 of them finished the year going 21-0.
That's a very good reason right there to start the 3 of them in any series. That's just great pitching.
Well, as late as near the end of May, Oakland's record was 20-26. They were 10 games behind Seattle. And then they went 83-33 the rest of the year, including that 20-game winning streak. And Mulder, Zito, and Hudson I was going to count Mulder twice there. Mulder, Zito, and Hudson, since late May, their record was 48-9.
You know, we can take that a step farther, though, John, and say, you know, in this series, he could have had 3 left-handers pitch 4 out of the 5 games if he would have set his rotation that way.
Instead of Hudson going game 1.
Right. He could have had either Zito or Mulder, especially could have had Zito because he didn't have to pitch him on Sunday.
Well, to have the 2 of them, he would have had to have the 2 lefties first and Hudson in game 3.
Right.
And then the 2 lefties could have come back for games 4 and 5. Runner goes, and Kavich over to Hatteberg. And that's all for the Twins. They get a run on the Guzman homer. David Justice coming up. Oakland 9, Minnesota 1. Game 2 of the American League Division Series. The Athletics ahead 9-1 over the Twins. Later tonight, the Yankees and Angels. The Yanks try to go ahead 2-0 on Fox, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And tomorrow, the Diamondbacks with Kurt Schilling in the mound. They need a win. Down 1-0 to the Cardinals, 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and 1 Pacific on ABC Family. Then the Giants and the Braves tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Fox. And Atlanta will need a win. There's Kyle Loesch, a young right-hander, had a pretty big year for the Twins. He was 13-8 in the regular season. And the new catcher, as you see Loesch's numbers, there's Tom Prince, a veteran, who's getting into his first postseason game right here. 1 ball, 1 strike. Justice has hit into a double play, singled, and hit a 3-run triple.
And it looks like Bradford is warming up for the A's in the bullpen. He's warming up very quickly, as if maybe he's going in this inning.
There's Bradford, not this inning.
Well, I mean, when they go back out.
Justice drives one into right field, and it is caught by Kadaya right beneath the scoreboard. 1 away. Yeah, Bradford would have to be traded to the Twins to come into this inning.
Well, I meant next inning when the A's go back out, because he's warming up quickly. Good job by, you can see Kadaya there feeling for the wall, so you know how close he was to the wall. Once you hit that warning track, you know, a lot of guys go out before the game and count the steps, you know, that it takes to them to get to the wall.
Ellis fouls one. Ellis is 3 for 3 today, 2 singles and a double.
And he's one of those unsung heroes for the A's. Remember, Frank Menachino actually started the season as a second baseman, and you know, they revamped this whole lineup in the ball club, and Ellis has done a fantastic job for him, especially defensively, and he's hit well. So I mean, he had some real good streaks where he swung the bat well, but he really has played very good defense, and him and Tejada really made the double play well.
On the right field line, Minkevich at foul ground, and he's got it. Minkevich, who does that well. I remember a few years back, one of the best at going down the line for a foul pop from first base was Kent Herbeck of the Twins. 2 down, and here's Long. Peterson, the pitching coach on the left, Art Howe, the manager, with his back to us, and Mulder all had a conversation. Ken Maka, the bench coach, also was there. And then Rick Peterson went right to the phone to the bullpen.
And again, Bradford was running up quickly. He didn't just walk down and start tossing. He's kind of warming up at a rapid pace, so that it appears to me that he may start the next inning. I'm sorry, for the A's.
Yeah, the next inning, that would be
7th.
There's another broken bat for Long, but this time he gets a base hit on it. That's his 4th broken bat of this series. He broke 3 yesterday.
Well, you think they're pitching him in? I mean, they're just jamming him. Those bats are exploding. And they all end up toward the pitcher's mound. That tells you the bat angle that he has, where the angle of his bat when it makes contact. I mean, he did this, like you say, 3 times yesterday. Look at that. And he shatters another one. Actually, he fooled Rivas because he kind of started in on it and then had to break back.
This makes the 15th consecutive inning in which Oakland has had a base hit. Yesterday, Long broke 3 bats. In the 3rd inning, look out, right back at Radke. Then in the 5th inning, Radke was on his way to first and had to slow up. Here's a pop-up now by Ramon Hernandez in shallow right center, Kadire. And that is the inning. Hernandez now 0 for 4. We're going to the 7th inning. Kadire will be coming up. And Bradford, we expect, will be coming in for Oakland. 9-1, the Athletics. A must-win for the Athletics today. Down 1 game to none, and they are leading 9-1. And a new pitcher, Chad Bradford, the submariner, on in relief of Mark Mulder. Bradford had a very strong season. By the end there, he was the most reliable Oakland relief pitcher, leading into the closer, Billy Koch.
And I think you accomplish 2 things here if you're Art Howe. You have a 7-0 lead, so you're saving some pitches for Mulder. You're taking some of the wear and tear off of his arm, but you're also getting Bradford some postseason experience here in this year, letting him run out there and, get some at-bats.
Bobby Kelty, the pinch hitter for Michael Kadire. Kelty hit .291, 12 homers, 46 batted in. And that's a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kelty, one of the young players in this club. Dustin Moore, who played a lot of outfield for the Twins. But Kadire, who played less than any of them, got the call for right field for the first 2 games of this series. And Kadire did real well yesterday in particular. A couple of hits and a walk. Drove in a big run, scored a big run. Kelty backing off on that one. That didn't miss by much, though, on the inside. 2-1 the count. Pierzynski, Pierzynski's out of the game now. Prince, who came in for him to catch, is on deck. There's Tom Prince in his first postseason game after a long career. Look at that one. That one spun in there real softly. Strike 2.
John, I'm a firm believer in getting the guys that you're going to count on in a series, get them in the series as quickly as possible. I even think that you can use Billy Koch today because, he hasn't pitched in the series. You may need him, to close out game 3, 4, whatever, and you don't want that to be his first experience in the postseason this year.
That's a foul off to the left. Tom Prince on deck, 16 big league seasons. But never until today had he played in a postseason game. No other active player has gone that long without ever being in any kind of a postseason game.
16 years, you don't get a chance to play that long.
17 players in history who played their first postseason game after playing for 16 years without being in one. And that's ball 3 to Kelty. Then there's Dave Justice, who plays in the postseason every year.
Yeah.
It's just part of the program. Let's see, spring training 6 weeks, then 6 months, and in the postseason, which I don't know, anywhere from a week to a month, that goes. Dave Justice never makes plans, for vacations or anything like that until November. 3-2 to Kelty, and a bounding ball to Ellis. Mulder went 6 innings, and after he came off the field after the 6th inning, he had a chat with Rick Peterson and Art Howe. Let's listen in.
That's what it looks like. No, I say that's it right there. All right? I think that's the wisest thing. You're coming back on 3 days rest.
I'm just being honest, because I just don't feel...
No, it's the best thing to do. It's the wisest thing to do. That's the best thing to do right now. All right? Let's go.
I mean, it almost sounded like Mulder was trying to talk him out of it.
Well, I'm not sure, John, because he kind of said, I just don't feel right. I think he was trying to say, like you're saying, to go back out there so he can find himself. You know what I mean? To find that groove that he wants to stay in. But, 6'5", is not too bad, But I think that's what he was saying. That, he just doesn't feel like he is as sharp as he'd like to be. And therefore, he might want to go out there for one more inning. But Rick Peterson said, I think that's enough.
Tom Prince, 16. He's basically been a backup catcher.
Yeah.
And a very fine receiver. And he's been able to parlay that into a very long big league career in his first postseason game. So this is a special trip to the plate for Tom Prince.
You know what, John? It's special just to win the division first. When you win, you hadn't been in the postseason because they hadn't won. So to be on a winning team, now you're on a winning team, and now you get your first at bat. I think he's been excited since they, captured the championship because that's your first goal. And your second goal is to get a base hit in postseason.
1 ball and 2 strikes to count. And 2-2. Well, Mulder, if he wasn't feeling quite right, like everything wasn't just quite right, then you can imagine how tough he is when everything is right.
Well, you know, he's just he has such command out there of all his pitches, and he doesn't ever seem to lose his composure out there. I don't care what they get men on base or whatever. He always seems to be in control, and he has great control. That's the other thing.
Now, Barry Zito goes in Game 3 for the Athletics against Rick Reed. Reed had a great second half of the year for the Twins. But the last time Zito pitched at the Metrodome was on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, September the 8th. 7 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts, only 3 hits allowed. Not easy to do against the Twins in their home ballpark. So they'll be counting on Zito to put him ahead of that series, even at the Metrodome on Friday, as Prince is called out on strikes. 2 down.
Well, I've heard you describe this. Well, it's not quite a frisbee slider, but it is a little slide piece. He drops down under, and that's what makes it tough just to find the location. Then he whips it across, and it cuts across the strike zone, and you can see it was clearly in the strike zone.
That was an interesting replay. I mean, how far forward of the pitching slab his body was, and his right foot. I mean, nothing was even anywhere near the slab by the time he actually released that ball. I mean, it looks like he almost scrapes his knuckles on the ground when he throws the pitch. That's in there just a little bit below the knees, apparently, to Rivas. 2-0.
John, I'm sure that in some, mounds that aren't exactly perfect, you might hit your knuckle.
I mean, this is really a different look for a hitter.
Yeah, well, hitters are used to looking off of the guy's right shoulder to pick up the ball. Now you have to look off of his right knee.
I mean, it looks to me like you have to look onto a little spot near the front of the mound. I mean, that ball's kind of coming out of the front of the mound.
Definitely a different look.
Watch his right foot by the time he releases the ball. Look at that. We didn't follow through. We didn't see his right foot in that.
But a good follow through anyway.
So he's prepared to field his position. 2-2 now. When you started your career, the Reds had a pretty good submariner named Ted Abernathy.
Right.
Dan Quisenberry was a good one for a long time.
Kent Tekulve.
Off the glove. Ellis and Rivas is retired. Bradford retires the Twins in order. They're stretching at the Coliseum. Durham, Hatterberg, Tejada coming up. 9-1 Oakland.
ABC Family's Major League Baseball Division Series. Brought to you by Bear Aspirin. Take it for pain, take it for life.
The Oakland Coliseum. The Athletics moved out here in 1968. This is where they've played ever since. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan.
John, this guy here says Jason who? He must not have been watching the Yankee game last night. Jason, of course, hit a 2-run homer and drove in the winning run. Got a base hit to drive in the winning run. I know they've done well without him, but you can't forget who he is. I mean, he was kind of the guy that led this team to the playoffs, and now you got guys picking up the slack. You got Tejada and Chavez kind of extending that streak that Jason started.
Yeah. Well, I mean, interestingly, they lose their best player, their big RBI man, one of the great sluggers in the league. Bobby Kelty stays in to play right field for the Twins, by the way, after hitting for Kadire. Dustin Moore replaces Jacques Jones in left field. Ray Durham has been on base 3 times in this one with a walk. He's been hit by a pitch, and he's doubled, and he has scored all 3 times. That one back in amongst the spectators, out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hatterberg and Tejada will follow. The long shadows of October advancing upon the plate. By the way, out on deck is John Mabry. So apparently Mabry's going to come up to hit for Hatterberg here against Kyle Loesch. But I mean, Oakland lost their #1 player, and they ended up with a better record this year than last.
Right. Well, I think some of the other guys kind of stepped forward. Like Tejada, although it's hard to say step forward because he's hit 30 home runs for the last 3 years and driven over 100 runs every year. But he did, have a fantastic season. He kind of picked up some of the slack that was left when Jason moved on.
Nice pitch by Loesch to strike out Durham. Good slider down and in. One of the best pitches that Durham's seen all day. One down. Kyle Loesch is from Northern California originally. He was born in Chico. But more northern California than the Bay Area. Went to Butte Community College. There's some pretty good baseball played in the community college system here in California. 1 ball and no strikes to Mabry. John Mabry hit .275 for the Athletics with 11 homers and only 193 at bats. Now, back there, the A's were limping along around May the 19th, and Art Howe had a little team meeting and just informed them. He said, if you guys can't get this thing turned around, because they had been in a slump where they were something like 5-15, just terrible. He said changes will be made. Changes are imminent here if there's no improvement. Well, they lost that night 11-0 at Toronto, and within a couple of days, Carlos Pena sent out to the minors. Frank Menachino, Jeff Tam, a relief pitcher, got sent out to AAA. And a day or two after that, Jeremy Giambi got traded to the Phillies for Mabry. And they brought up Mark Ellis, among others. And Mabry and Ellis gave them something that they had really been lacking. I mean, Mabry was a guy who's a much better defensive player and with a little more speed, but Ellis gave them a guy at the top of the order. He was installed immediately as the leadoff man. Later on, they got Ray Durham, and he took over the leadoff spot. And Oakland soon got hot right after that. Strike 3, and that is out number 2. Mabry retired. Don't miss the extreme illusions of Chris Angel in an all-new original special, Mind Freak, premiering Sunday, October 20th, part of the 13 Nights of Halloween on ABC Family. They're in the green and gold, the Athletics colors. Here's Miguel Tejada. And the count is 0-1. We were talking about when Oakland first came out here with that young club. That Oakland team, when they got to the postseason for the first time in '71 against Baltimore, a veteran Baltimore team, they were somewhat similar to this club. Reggie and Bando, Blue Moon Odom and Catfish, all those guys, they'd never been there before. Tejada's gone. The inning is over. We're going to the 8th inning now. And the Twins are trailing the Athletics 9-1.
Now's the time.
Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Yeah, now is the time definitely for the Athletics today. Now is the day. Today is the day where they had to win to have their hopes continue of advancing beyond this first round of the postseason as Dustin Moore comes up against Chad Bradford. John Mabry stays in to play first base for the Athletics, who lead 9-1. And that slider is a little bloop into shallow right center field. Long got a late break on it, battling the sun. And now Moore heading into second, and he'll make it there. A double. Dustin Moore in his first at bat of this postseason. Moore hit .269 with 12 home runs.
Well, because of the brightness of the sun, sometimes it's just very difficult to pick the ball up right away. Plus, they're playing pretty deep, and this ball is just a little flare in the right center. And Terrence Long cannot get there.
So a double for Moore, and now Christian Guzman will come up. Guzman has had a sacrifice. He's grounded out. And then in the 6th, he hit a home run for the only run allowed by Mark Mulder. Guzman, a switch hitter, batting left-handed down. That's a called strike. But you know, Oakland back in '71, a young ball club, got to the postseason for the first time and got swept by Baltimore, veteran Baltimore club under Earl Weaver. That was the year that Baltimore had 4 20-game winners. But Oakland won again the next year, and this time they beat Detroit in the playoffs, and they moved on to the World Series, and then they beat a Cincinnati club that was pretty heavily favored. And Guzman is thrown out by Ellis with Moore moving over to third. 1 down.
Well, Gene Tennis and the pitching staff did, yeah.
And young Gene Tennis.
Yeah, Gene Tennis.
4 home runs.
Yeah. And he'd only hit like 10 the whole season or something.
I don't even know if he'd hit that many.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he just got hot in the World Series, which is what the World Series is all about.
Oakland's regular catcher most of the year had been Dave Duncan.
Right.
And Gene Tennis had such a great World Series, they ended up trading Dave Duncan after that season. Here's Corey Koski, who's 0 for 3. And a strike from Bradford. It is 0-1. 9-1 Oakland ahead. But that, of course, began this stretch of dominance. That Oakland ball club became one of the great clubs of all time. They won 3 straight World Series. Not many have done that. The A's have, with the rotation featuring Catfish Hunter, Vida Blue, Ken Holtzman, Raleigh Fingers anchoring that bullpen, Reggie Jackson, Sal Bando, Joe Rudy, Gene Tennis, Ray Fosse, now a broadcaster for the A's, was a catcher on those ball clubs as well. They acquired him from Cleveland.
Of course, the thing that everybody remembers about that team is Dick Green was a very good defensive second baseman.
And it was a very good defensive team.
Right.
Dick Green, as Ricardo Rincon is up in the Oakland bullpen, a left-handed. In 1974, they beat the Dodgers. In all 3 of those World Series, well, let's say 2 of the 3, they were favored to lose. They were the underdogs to the Reds in '72 and again to the Dodgers in '74. They beat the Mets in '73. And that's inside for a ball. 2-2 the count. Anyway, in '74, Dick Green had such a great World Series defensively, as LaTroy Hawkins is up in the Minnesota bullpen, that most of the writers who were voting for the most valuable player of that series said if Dick Green would even get 1 hit, we'd vote for him as the MVP of the series. But he never did. But that's how strong he was defensively in that series. That one, did it hit him or it hit the bat? Apparently it hit the bat. 2-2 to Corey Koski, looking for his first hit of the day. Matthew LeCroy is on deck.
I think he's acting like the ball hit him on the hand.
Well, Ron Gardenhire came out of the dugout and asked the plate umpire Merriweather about it.
It looks like it may have hit the knob. It may have been just a vibration because he didn't act like he got hit on the hand. I think it hit the knob.
Runner at third, 1 out. 2-2 the count. And a foul out of play into the second deck. But that Oakland ball club, that was right near the beginning of the free agent era. Oakland ended up trading Reggie Jackson after that '74 season for Don Baylor. Was it the 7? No, they lost Catfish Hunter.
Yes, Catfish
after '74 on a contract technicality. Charlie Finley had violated his contract. And Catfish ended up signing for big money with the New York Yankees, the late Catfish Hunter. He was 25-12 for that Oakland club in 1974.
You know what I find interesting, you're looking at the numbers out there. There's Raleigh Fingers is on the wall, but I don't see Reggie Jackson's number on the wall.
Hits Corey Koski. Well, Koski got beat up there by Bradford. Almost got hit one time. Ball hitting the knob of the bat. This time he clearly did get a hit. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Right now, the end is drawing near. The quest to win the World Series ring has begun. And the time to watch Major League Baseball is right now. Don't miss the postseason action on ABC Family. Matthew LeCroy, 2 for 3 in the game, takes a called strike. But you know, so I think that Oakland ball club in the early 70s, when you consider they won 3 straight playoff series and they won 6 straight postseason series in 3 years. They were the first team ever to do that. And I don't think they get enough credit for being as strong a club as they were.
Yeah, they were a very good ball club. But I still think, you know, when you think of that team, you think about Reggie Jackson. He was kind of the guy. He was the man on that ball club. And
although the first one of those World Series, the one against the Reds, he broke his leg in the playoff against Detroit and couldn't play in that World Series. He was scoring either the winning run or the go-ahead run or the winning run in that game. He scored from third base on a sacrifice fly, and there's Dick Williams. Dick Williams came in as the manager in '71, and a lot of those A's players said that it was Williams who sort of showed them how to win. That is a double play turned by Ellis, hitting the bag, and then an off-balance throw in the dirt, scooped up by Mabry at first. And the Twins do not score. Oakland in a must-win situation, and it's been all A's today. Chavez coming up. Oakland 9-1. Game 2 of this American League Division Series from the Oakland Coliseum on the eastern side of San Francisco Bay. And Oakland out in front 9-1 over the Minnesota Twins. Here is LaTroy Hawkins, who, as a setup man in front of Eddie Guardado, had a big year. Last year he was the closer, and after a fine first half, he faded down the stretch. So Hawkins gets his inaugural in postseason play. Meanwhile, Bobby Kelty has moved from right field over to center field, replacing Torrey Hunter, and now in right field is Denny Hocking, a Twins veteran. He's one of the old men in this ball club. Been around a while, so he gets into his first game. Hocking did nearly 800 regular season games for the Twins, making his first postseason appearance right now. Hawkins missing with ball 1 to Eric Chavez, having a big day and a big series. 3-run first inning homer, then he singled in the 3rd, was walked intentionally in the 4th, fouled out to left field in the 5th. 2 for 3 today, 4 for 8 in the series with 5 driven in. Hawkins misses high. Hawkins throws hard.
Yes, he does. I mean, he was a power closer, and Gardenhire says that's what he likes about him. He wants a power pitcher in that setup role now.
That's a strike.
John, every time I see Dick Williams, I think about the World Series in '72 when we played him. And I was on third base. Johnny Bench was the hitter. And with 2 strikes, they act like they were going to walk him, and Raleigh Fingers threw a strike for strike 3 to get out of a jam. And that was one of the great strategy plays of that World Series. You know, I thought it was a great play by Dick Williams.
I'm sure Johnny Bench is really thrilled to have you bring
we laugh about it all the time. We laughed about it last week.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
I've heard you laugh about it. I never personally heard Johnny laugh that hard about it. It was, though. I mean, everybody in the park knew he was going to get the walk.
Yeah.
And instead, Raleigh threw the called strike right by him.
Well, I talked to Bench obviously later, and he said, even I was on third base and I was yelling at him, "Get ready! They're going to pitch to you. You're going to pitch to you." He said he heard me, but he said he couldn't hit that pitch anyway. It was a perfect pitch right over the outside corner.
Ooh, that foul got played up by Chuck Merriweather. There's Raleigh Fingers in the Hall of Fame. Not many relief pitchers have ever made it into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's, well, they've changed the rules so many times, you know, on a save and what a save is. And we talked about how well Mark Ellis has played defensively for the A's this year, and this is another example. I mean, tough play, makes the play. Now watch this, avoids contact with Tejada, and then he throws off balance and just makes a nice play. Tejada can't get there. Ellis, now watch this, off balance throw, falling away, and a very good throw in that situation. Mabry digs it out for him. So he has played excellent defense, you know, since he became their everyday second baseman.
having a very fine day today. All right, the plate umpire, Merriweather, got a visit from the A's trainer, Larry Davis. Apparently he's okay now. Chavez down on strikes. One away. And that'll bring up Jermaine Dye. Back in the fourth inning, Oakland blew it open. A clutch 2-out double by Tejada got the fourth run of the day home. And then David Justice, with the bases loaded, came up against Tony Fiore. And that cleaned him off. Three runs scored on the triple by David Justice, and suddenly it was a 7-0 game.
You know, when I watch Art Howe and the fact that the A's lost the first game, and, you know, if they lose today, you know, a lot of people would have written them off. And it reminds me of something that, you know, Bobby Cox always says about the division series. He says it's kind of the roll of the dice in the division series because it's a short series, and if you get off to a good start, you can win it. And, you know, that's been one of the things that he's talked about over the years, that, you know, 3 out of 5 is just, you know, kind of a roll of the dice, you know.
Well, for many years, after they started the league championship series, that was a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, and then they actually didn't they have 2 out of 3 at one time? But I think they
no. It used to be 2 out of 3 if you finished in a tie.
Right,
for first place,
for the playoff position.
Well, no, just first place before they had divisions.
Right, that's what I mean. Before, but I mean, the point is, you know, it is a short series after playing 162 games. I mean, it really is kind of a roll of the dice. And, you know, I believe that this should be 4 out of 7. The first series should be 4 out of 7 as well. But I think to do that, as you see Billy Koch warming up in the bullpen, I think to do that, you'd have to shorten the season a little bit.
Well, I think if we're going to do that, we need to eliminate this extra round of playoffs. Well, go back and just have the 2 teams.
I agree with that, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Because what I think, if we're going to start talking about what's fair, let's start about having a second-place team make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not fair to the team that just beat them in the regular season. But I'm not complaining about it. I'm
Good.
Just saying,
I don't want you to complain about that, because I think the wild card is good.
If we're all going to start talking about what's fair, let's start by eliminating that, which is grossly unfair. As Dye is now out on strikes, so Hawkins with 2 straight strikeouts here. As we get the view again from the Saturn Lightship, bringing you aerial coverage of today's game.
Left fielder David Justice.
The Saturn Lightship from high above the Oakland Coliseum today. We're always extremely pleased to have them with us.
Well, one thing that we're seeing there is LaTroy Hawkins is just what Gardenhire said. He could blow guys away. And I like the fact, again, here he's giving him a chance to come into a game so that his first time coming in wouldn't, you know, trying to get to the closer wouldn't be the first time he's appeared in the series. I think the one thing most managers should do, try to get all of their important guys into the game as quickly as possible, into the series as quickly as possible.
Change up to Justice misses. But let me go back to this game, this best-of-5 thing.
Yeah.
From a fan standpoint, it's exciting. Game 1 is very important, and Game 2 is critical for the team that lost Game 1. So you might not get to that kind of a critical game in a best-of-7 till Game 4.
Correct.
And you might never get to it in a best-of-7. You know, if the one team wins 3 in a row. The inning is over. Strong inning for Hawkins. Now Koch is going to get his first postseason experience. The Oakland Athletics are leading 9-1 over the Minnesota Twins in Game 2 of this American League Division Series. Oakland 3 outs away from tying up the series. Coming up, Sports Center over on ESPN with Matt Weiner, Scott Van Pelt, and Chris McKendry. The Giants and Braves highlights. The Giants and Braves kicked off that series in the National League in Atlanta today. A's Twins post game. Angels and Yankees Game 2 preview. They're playing tonight at Yankee Stadium. Here's Billy Koch, Oakland's closer. And this guy was a workhorse. He pitched more innings than any other closer, 93 2/3 innings. He was in 84 games. He had 11 wins and 44 saves, and gives up a base hit here to Denny Hocking. So Hocking, in his first postseason at bat, singles to left. Eric Burns, the new left fielder, on in relief of David Justice. Picked up that base hit by Hocking. So Hocking is aboard, and now Minkiewicz will come up.
It's interesting that Gardenhire has gotten all of his players in, with the exception of Mike Jackson, who does have postseason experience. So he's made sure they all got their feet wet here in Oakland in the first 2 ball games.
Minkevich now 0 for 3. Koch with 44 saves this year, his first year with the Oakland club. Remember, they lost Isringhausen. He signed with the Cardinals. And he's in the postseason, too, again. Isringhausen lost, so they were in the market for a closer, and they made a trade with Toronto. Looks like one of those trades could help both clubs, too. Toronto has a good closer, Kelvin Escobar. That ball's going to go back out of play. It Burns and Chavez gave chase.
It was interesting. The Dodgers were trying to get Koch before they converted Gagne to the closer role, and I guarantee you they're happy that they took a chance on Gagne, but they did try to get Billy Koch.
Yeah, they ended up getting Koch, and Toronto got an excellent third baseman, maybe the rookie of the year in the American League, Eric Hinsky from Oakland in that deal. 97-mile-an-hour heater, too high. 1-2 to Minkevich. Mark Mulder, the starter for Oakland, who would also come back in a Game 5 if there is one in this ballpark on Sunday. In 6 innings. We started to look at his numbers there. And a high fly ball. Burns over, crossing the foul line. And Minkevich fouls out to the left fielder. 1 away with Hocking back to first. 9-1, Oakland ahead, but Minnesota nonetheless came to Oakland and split this series. Now they got the 2 games in their home ballpark. They've played 12 postseason games at the Metrodome over the years. The Twins have only lost 1.
You know what I find interesting, though, just looking at my scorebook, which only I can read.
Kelty into left center. Long going back. Battling the sun and the wind, and he puts it in his hip pocket. And again, Hocking will have to go back to first. Nice play. Game 3 of this series at the Metrodome. Barry Zito, the winningest pitcher in the American League, 23-5 up against Rick Reed, 15-7. Seen on ABC Family at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and 1 Pacific. That game will be followed by the Yankees-Angels game from Anaheim. That'll be Game 3 of that series.
John, I was just looking at all the big hitters in yesterday's ballgame for the Twins, the left-handed hitters. They were all shut down today by Mulder. Jock Jones got 1 base hit, but the other left-handed hitters, they did not get any base hits in this ballgame.
And that's been a problem all year for the Twins. With a loss today, their record now would be 23 wins and 30 losses in games started against them by lefties. And 2 strikes to Prince. Oakland has not won a home postseason game since 2 years ago when they won the first game of a series with the Yankees. The Yanks beat them 4 in a row here. The Twins beat them yesterday. And the ball game is over. Billy Koch blows the fastball by him to wrap it up. So the Athletics have evened the series at a game apiece, and now they're heading toward the bedlam of the Metrodome, commencing there Friday.
And Barry Zito, who is very similar to Mark Mulder, that's what the Twins will be facing. And again, they did not fare very well, their left-handed hitters, against the left-handed pitching of the Oakland A's. And this is more like what the A's expected to happen, and most people expect to happen in this series. But the Twins did a great job of splitting here, and now they get to go home.
So Game 3, Friday at the Metrodome, 55,000 people in that indoor insane asylum. Friday from the Metrodome. 9-1, the A's over the Twins. More baseball tomorrow on the ABC Family. The Cardinals and Diamondbacks, 4 Eastern, 3 Central, 1 Pacific. Now for Joe Morgan and our entire crew. This is John Miller. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Now is the time.
Tick.